This episode of the Primal Scream podcast is brought to you by It Works independent distributor Kathy Sculla. Have you tried that crazy wrap thing? It tightens, tones, and firms any area from the neck down. It Works also provides a wide variety of premium supplements, along with a full skincare line. I personally use their multivitamins and greens, and if you're interested in learning more about It Works products or the business opportunity, call or text Kathy at 319-360-2009 or go to her website, kathysculla.myitworks.com. That's CATHYSKALA.myitworks.com.
Wake up. It's time for Primal Scream.
Back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I am Todd.
And today we have Laurie Moritz. Moritz.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay.
Like Saint Moritz without the saint.
I don't know. So far you've been pretty good.
Switzerland.
Oh.
Switzerland. Yeah, San Moritz.
San Moritz.
People say San Moritz, not Saint Moritz. It's San Moritz.
Go ahead and get your mic a little bit closer to your noggin there. Perfect.
He's the mic Nazi.
I'm not. I want you to sound great. That's what I want. Is you to sound great. That's perfect. Thank you.
She sounds wonderful. Hey, by the way, this episode of the Primal Scream is brought to you by Ecolips. Check out ecolips.com. Go to their website. Order some. They're in some of your healthier food stores.
All organic.
You know what? Some of it isn't organic. I was just reading about that because of vitamin E has to come from something, and it's one of their most common frequently asked questions. You want to check out Ecolips? Go to their frequently asked questions. They have a little thing on there. Why aren't your products 100% organic? So then they have their some more ingredients, such as vitamin E, aren't available in a certified organic form yet. Cool. As they become available, we will include them in our formulas. See, great answer.
Integrity.
Wonderful answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I love Ecolips. And if you do go to ecolips.com, you can go to My Ecolips, or you can get One World Ecolips, which I love. Have you ever had Ecolips, Laurie?
No, I'm a lipstick girl.
You don't like chapstick?
There's some chapstick here, some Ecolips that are lady friendly.
I'll have to browse.
Are there some lady friendly ones? Because they have some tint. They have some tint.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm all about.
So you can be stylish,
and your fella needs some too.
Rose quartz. Wow.
Give him the hemp one.
So if you go to My Ecolips,
very cool.
You can create your own. Pick your ingredient, design your container, name your balm. Over 2 billion combinations. That's what Steve calculated. Over 2 billion combinations. So check out Ecolips, ecolips.com. And we normally talk about one of our other favorite treats, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So we're going to jump right into Cards Against Humanity. Go to cardsagainsthumanity.com and download the game for free, or do the right thing. Just purchase it for $25.
It's worth it. Please give me your money.
Wow. That was so enthusiastic, Todd.
Oh,
just do it. Just purchase it.
Okay. Please go purchase it. It is fantastic.
Do you need like a coffee enema? Are you all right?
It's worth your money. You know what I mean? You can download it for free, but why not get the big black box?
It's one of life's guilty pleasures.
It is. It's pretty fantastic.
Because you can make your own deck for free.
I feel bad how much I like it. That's how bad it is.
You can get your expansion packs. Laurie, have you ever played this game before?
I think I have, like a couple Christmases ago.
Okay, because there is a holiday edition expansion pack. But I got the bigger, blacker box because I like to go big or go home. That's probably trademarked somewhere. So I just love to have 21 inches.
Okay.
That's what the bigger, blacker box is. It says the bigger, blacker box. It's 21 inches long. It weighs 17 ounces. It's black as the night.
17 ounces. How much is a pound? Is that 12?
And it's
16.
completely empty inside.
Could say a pound and 1 ounce. I guess it doesn't sound as good as 17.
And it's completely empty inside.
It's a box to hold all your expansion packs and all your other stuff. And that's what I needed because I got it all. I went all in. I went all in and got it all. So let's play a couple rounds of Cards Against Humanity.
Ow!
Todd, what are the official rules?
I just dumped my cards.
Oops.
It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, refresh my memory.
You got it. I'll be happy to. All right, so you have 2 black cards in front of you, and you have 10 white cards to your left there. And what we'll do is we'll take turns, each reading. Oh, don't look at those yet. I'm just kidding. So we'll each take a turn reading a black card. And then what we do is we put down a white card that we feel best fits the black card.
It's kind of like apples to
So
apples.
you put the white card down.
Yeah, so if you read the black card, you're a judge now. You become a judge.
Okay.
And you read the black card. We peruse our white cards, and then you close your eyes. We throw them down. You pick one. Whoever's card you picked, I get that black card. That's how you kind of keep score.
And you learn about who maybe I like really silly things, and so you'll want to throw down a silly card, knowing that I like it, and then I may pick it. I may pick your card, and you get the black card, or you may like really disgusting, gross things like Matt. And so
Don't give it away. She's getting to know me.
So I'm going to throw down the worst, nastiest card I can because he'll love it, right? So you can kind of learn to kind of manipulate and play the game. It's fun.
And if you don't want Todd to win and you want me to win, then you'll know like what responses. Like our last guest, Eric, George, and I put our answers into Todd, and I had said something like, "Eric, that was a great card you put down." Todd didn't want me to win. So he took my comment as that must have been Eric's card. I'm going to give it to Eric. But I manipulated him and I won. Mm-hmm. He picked my card instead.
Bad.
So we start the game out by kind of a gross way.
Yep, it is
but
gross.
This is official.
It's official rules. Mm-hmm. Who have their last bowel movement. Now you eat a lot of raw food, so you very well could be our earliest contestant.
There you go. Contentant.
So I am gonna say, it was 11:30 this morning.
Wow.
Nope.
It was 11:34. I was wrong. I apologize.
1:30 this afternoon. Sorry.
1:30 this afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stressful day.
So did the daylight savings time get you?
Yeah, it threw me off bad.
Right. Not yet today.
That's not good, dude.
Not yet today. I was busy today.
You need to drink more water.
There you go.
I do.
Something.
Something you will learn about me. My diet. Horrible.
The raw food hitting his stomach that you're going to share with us, going to put him into seizures. His body will not know what to do with it.
My body will be like, yeah. 11:30 tonight. I'll be like, what's hitting me? Yeah. So you'll learn that about me too.
So 1:30.
Okay. So 1:30.
You haven't gone yet today.
I haven't gone yet today. So if it was after 1:30.
No, it was 7
this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So Todd, you're up.
Yes.
You get to start us off with a black card.
It's the only time you can actually talk about pooping and be excited about it.
Oh man, I'm the winner, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so now we get to peruse.
You can peruse your
Yes.
white cards.
All right. This is a twofer, which means you have a chance to put down 2 cards. Okay. Oprah's book of the month is blank for blank, a story of hope.
So it's a twofer. Okay.
I just said it was twofer.
I apologize. I
Jeez
normally don't listen to
Louise.
you when we do
I was
this.
going to say, Oprah's book of the month is blank for blank, a story of hope. And put your first card you want me to read on the top.
Okay, so Yep, so if you do them face down like this,
I'm closing my eyes.
this card will be the first card. No, that's horrible. Don't do it. Don't do that sound. That's crazy.
So do I do it in a certain order?
Okay, so yeah, the first blank that he reads will be
It's
the
one on
top
top.
one. Yep.
All right.
Okay, and
Is everybody happy?
slide mine over with you. Will you please?
Mm-hmm.
Just don't mix them. Oh, perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Perfect.
Okay, Todd, you're ready to go.
Okay.
All the people in their
All right.
cards going to work this morning. Listening to
The
the
plethora of
podcast.
people listening to this podcast in their car. Oprah's book of the month is The Inevitable World of Mushrooms for the Systematic Destruction of an Entire People and Their Way of Life, a Story of Hope. I like that one. That's a good contradiction. I dig it. The bad part is when you get really stinky ones, and you're like, oh, that was very exciting. Yep. Oprah's book of the month is reverse cowgirl for The Way White People Is, a story of hope.
Laurie, I like where you're going. I like where you're coming from with that one.
Yeah, nice try.
Do I dare ask what a reverse cowgirl is?
It's a sexual position.
Sexual position.
Got it.
Yep. Google it later. Or your husband may know. You never know.
Yeah.
I'll ask.
You know what? Make his night. Go home and say, honey,
Can you
I'm
Google?
really interested in this reverse cowgirl thing. Tell me everything you know about it.
That would be so funny.
He's like, you need to do that podcast more often.
It's like, what did you talk about? All right.
Can you go see them tomorrow?
Make a decision, man.
I'm going to go with the reverse cowgirl. That's hard. I can't go against it. I knew it was you, but still.
But still, it tickled your fancy. Mm-hmm. Laurie, if you would, please read a black card. It's your turn to be the judge.
Yep. Oh, I haven't looked at my wet cards yet.
I like this one. I'm pretty sure I'm high right now because I'm absolutely mesmerized by blank. I'm pretty sure I'm high right now because I'm absolutely mesmerized by blank.
Oh, man, I have a couple good ones for this. All right.
All right, you got to. Your eyes are
I'm
closed.
gonna
Your eyes are
hit.
closed.
Oh,
Close your
No,
eyes.
but
You
she
can't.
can-
You
she
can't
can
know.
shuffle.
Can't. Okay, go ahead and shuffle them up. You got them.
You got him.
I had
right.
thought I would go down either. I had great cards. I could have went either way.
Okay. We'll see how good they were. We'll just
All right.
have to see.
I'm pretty sure I'm high right now because I'm absolutely mesmerized by free ice cream. Yo. Oh, man.
Free
I
ice
like
cream, yo. Free ice cream, yo.
Free ice cream, yo.
I'm pretty sure I'm high right now because I'm absolutely mesmerized by a soulful rendition of Old Man River.
Old Man River.
Obviously, that was your card because I have.
You never heard that song before?
I've heard the
That
name
wasn't my card.
Old Man River, but that was a terrible singing of it.
Old Man River.
You don't have this. You don't have the lungs.
Old.
Can you make it lower? Who are you gonna go with here?
I'm gonna go with the free ice cream, yo.
Two for two.
Mother effer.
I'll take that black card, my lady.
Okay, so
What do I do with
one
these?
more. Just give them to me. I'll take them.
Yep.
One more win by him, and it's a done deal. We need to kick his ass. He cannot win this round. Okay.
You know what? Feel
Laurie,
feel
focus.
good about
Focus,
this.
Laurie.
Feel good about this point. I can't possibly win this round.
Because you're the judge.
Yes, thank you. All right, this is both of them are twofers. Ready? This is a twofer. Honey,
yes.
I have a new role play game. I want you to try tonight. You can be blank, and I'll be blank. Honey, I have a new role play game I want to try tonight. You can be blank, and I'll be blank. All right, my eyes are closed. People are driving to work. People are driving home from work. All they want is some entertaining things to listen to. And this is why I should write music. And then I can just sing. This is not my music. That's Todd's type of music.
It's not my type of music. It's Junior's type of music.
And you influenced your son. Mm-hmm. So it's your music.
With hip hop and R&B.
You influenced him with your music. Do I have cards in front of me? Can I?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we're ready to go. Okay.
Ready to go?
Here we is. All right. Here we go. It's gonna be beautiful. Honey, I have a new role play I want to try tonight. You can be a box-shaped man, and I'll be nothing.
Very zen.
I really enjoyed that little combo. Honey, I have a new role play I want to try tonight. You can be blackface. All right. And I'll be being 9 years old. So you'll be blackface and I'll be a 9-year-old. I gotta say, I'm drawn to the blackface and the 9-year-old, but I really like the I'm nothing. I'm going to go with the box-shaped man and nothing.
That's Buddhists for you right there. I love it that I'm the fucking loser. That's what I love.
Here's the thing. I'm shocked that you're not used to this by now.
Shut up. Oh, we did play the other night on Halloween, and there was like a group of,
wow.
10 people?
A group of 10, and my wife, bam, 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 bam,
And
winning it.
Everybody
all over.
won at least once or twice. I went the entire night, not one single win.
You were not in the group.
And my wife would just fan out all her black cards and look at Todd.
Yeah,
and
but
go,
she's like, oh, really, little bitch? Look at this. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, she's horrible. Horrible winner. Okay. Twofer.
okay, all right, two
we're
cards.
We're not done?
Oh, no.
Oh, goodness.
We got one more time around.
One more time around.
All right.
That's why we have to win.
All right.
Forget everything you know about blank. Because now we've supercharged it with blank.
Got it.
Forget everything you know about blank. Because now we've supercharged it with blank.
All right, shut your eyes,
Shut your eyes.
because I doubt you're going to know where these cards came from.
I was going to say, this is hard.
All right, you ready?
Okay.
See how this is? When you read it, wham! Lori and I were down with it. We know the answer is there.
Shut up. Forget everything you know about survivor's guilt. Because now we've supercharged it with Daddy's Belt.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That's a great one.
Forget everything you know about slowly easing down onto a cucumber. Because now we've supercharged it with a face full of horse cum.
Oh my God, that's awful. Oh my God.
That is awful. Can you believe that?
I can feel myself blushing. I can feel my face.
When I had the
as my
opportunity,
redneck.
when I had the opportunity to play that card, I immediately started laughing inside. My inner child was just giggling.
I can't
because I
wait
knew
to
you'd be
make-
embarrassed to read that
Can't
card.
wait to make him read this out loud.
he is kind
You
of matching
are an
his shirt.
asshole.
He is.
There you go.
He
How
is.
about my cheeks? Do I need blush?
No, you're
No,
good.
you're good.
You're wonderful.
You're really good. Yeah. Oh my God, that's terrible.
So gross.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Who won? Who got the black card?
Oh, I'm of course picking her. Shut up.
How do you know she
I
didn't?
won then, huh?
How do you know
No,
she
it's a
didn't
tie.
do the horse thing?
Because you just said that you were waiting to play it.
She gave me the eyes. I don't think it was her. Okay.
So it's 2-2.
You said it. Yes, it is.
2-2. Do we need a tiebreak?
Oh well,
I could still win.
You're gonna.
Oh,
read,
you could still win.
Yeah, you still have to read one, and I still have to read one.
So I can still come back. It's
So
not.
you
it's
read
not
your
good.
black.
It's,
You read your black card.
it's probably not going to happen. But
Those are your, okay.
Okay. Every step towards blank, it's a twofer,
Okay.
gets me a little bit closer to blank. So every step towards blank gets me a little bit closer to blank.
okay, close your eyes. I will win one.
All right, go ahead.
I will win one.
You might. This might be the one that you get. Go ahead, Lori.
Lori, you're up.
Ready?
Yep.
These are the two.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. You're good to go.
All right. So every step towards blank gets me a little closer to blank. Every step toward the passage of time gets me a little bit closer to boxing up my feelings.
That's so sad. Wow. The older I get, the less I share. That's what that says.
That's exactly what it says.
Every step towards seeing my village burned and my family slaughtered before my eyes gets me a little bit closer to not having sex.
That's a true statement.
Nirvana would be
That
great.
is a true statement, though. If your family's gone, you're probably not
If
going
you're
to be
traumatized, you're not interested in pretty
right.
much of anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's kind of horrible.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the passage
As well
of
you
time
should.
and the boxing.
All right, all right. I think we know. I think we've got you pegged, lady. I think we know. All right, one more. Ready?
Oh, okay.
Was born ready.
Because you and I are tied, and Todd has one.
and I'm coming. And I'm
All
coming
right.
back.
All right,
coming
all
back.
right.
for
This
the
year's
win.
hottest album is blank by blank.
You just picked two first when you pulled that.
I know. I really just dealt them all out. Yeah.
Sure you did.
This year's hottest album is blank by blank, and this is the last thing. I promise. Are we good?
Yep.
It's all good. All right.
I'll
Here
take
we
your
go.
other white cards because this is it.
All right. This year's hottest album is The Ghost of Marlon Brando by Social Justice Warriors with Flamethrowers of Compassion.
That's pretty good.
That would actually be Social Justice Warriors with Flamethrowers of Compassion.
That'd be quite a show, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that really sounds like a cool band name.
Great.
The T-shirts would be crazy. This year's hottest album is Warm Velvety Muppet Sex. I didn't know it was Muppet Sex. I started saying it real sexy, kind of. I don't know, is that sexy? I started saying it, and then I got to Muppet Sex. I was like, I probably shouldn't be. This year's hottest album is Warm Velvety Muppet Sex by The Day the Birds Attacked. All right, now, generally, I would go with anything sex. But I'm going to go with The Ghost of Marlon Brando because I love Social Justice Warriors and the Flamethrowers of Compassion.
It's
a three-way tie. That's why you don't give up, ladies and gentlemen.
Gosh.
That's why you don't give up.
That's crazy.
Because anything can happen. You'd never know when Matt's going to turn over a new leaf
I could do it.
and not get really wrapped up into
I'll
the
take your
warm,
black cards.
velvety Muppet sex.
Velvet isn't very comfortable anyways.
Velvet?
It's hot.
Would you rather suede?
Suede.
Suede?
Suede's sticky too.
Is suede?
They're all
Isn't
sticky.
suede like velvet?
Regular sheets are the best. You didn't like, I mean, I think
Why are you talking about sheets now?
Muppety sex. Muppet sex. Velvet Muppet sex is what that was. What does that say?
You know what? How about we move on to where we're supposed to be heading? Now, Lori, we're
I
going to
hate
be...
feeling like a complete asshole because you frame it that way. It's my favorite part of my day.
Listen, all the people around the world who do download this show, that's their favorite part too. So feel good about bringing joy to millions of people.
Joy.
I can't wait to
a
listen to
good
that dummy. Great.
So we are going to get into Lori here in a second. And feel free to chime in when Todd brings up the...
Oh, don't feel free. Please do.
Please do. What's going on in the world of today, Todd?
All right.
Current events.
I thought kind of a unique story was that Harley Davidson
Yeah.
has now mobilized a lot of their bikers to travel across the country and plant 50 million trees.
Get out. That's awesome.
I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, you can check that out on goodnewsnetwork.org.
Yep. I like that. And I also, my favorite part of yesterday's election
November 4th.
was 4 states raised the minimum wage, which I thought was great. And we had 3 states legalize marijuana, which I also thought was a fabulous thing because I'm very pro-marijuana. So I think it's a good idea, especially when we know about the health benefits of what marijuana can do for people who are sick or in pain or are suffering from chemo and all those kind of things. I think it's wonderful. And it's like you can have your own plants. It's whatever you want to do with it. So it's super that it's that open because there's usually a lot of regulations. So you can have this, but then there's this and there's other thing.
Right.
Now you can have plants. You can grow what you want. It's going to be yours to use.
Well,
you can sell it.
The other day, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, she did talk about the medical benefits of marijuana in relation to head trauma.
Oh, that's right. On Joe Rogan's podcast.
Joe Rogan's podcast, she talks about the health benefits of smoking marijuana, a certain dose, nothing crazy, but within 3 hours of a head trauma, it significantly reduces the brain swelling and a lot of the negative repercussions of head trauma.
And I mean,
Very interesting.
that to me, and some of the things we're huge fans of hers, but some of the things she talked about when it came to head trauma, it was like I wanted to wrap my kids in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
I was just like, I even thought, even in my small amount of time playing football, I shouldn't say that. I started at 7 and I went until high school, so I was a long time playing football. But I know my brother has had 6 significant concussions in his life playing football.
Oh my God.
And so it just made me go, oh my goodness. And Joe Rogan in that same podcast talked about there was a kid who played for the Bengals. He was a cornerback or a receiver, and he was having he was like 23. No, he wasn't even that old. 19 or 20. No, he was 23. He's out of college. He was having an argument with his girlfriend. She drove off in her truck, and he ran and caught up with her and jumped in the back. and was screaming at her and said, "I'm going to jump out of here if you don't stop." And she wouldn't stop. And so he threw himself out of the truck and killed himself and hit the ground.
My gosh.
And they said that his brain, when they looked at it, was like a 75-year-old man. That's how much, what are the, not platelets. There's some way of showing I don't want to say plaque. The plaque he had in his brain was that of a 70-year-old. And he was in his early 20s. And so that they're showing now that the behavior from these head traumas is significantly tied to all this domestic abuse and Adrian Peterson beating his kid and all these other things that are happening. It's all being tied to this brain, the trauma these guys are having on their brains all the time. What makes me wonder, though, is how come it affects some people one way and it doesn't another way? You know, I mean,
everybody's different.
That's what I mean. But I mean, you would think that head trauma is head trauma. You get in your head, right? You know, your brain's beaten all the time, whether you are a big, humongous lineman or you're a receiver, or, you know, what makes that different between people? You know, somebody's brain tougher.
But is head trauma, does that equate to plaque? I mean, can it be food related? I have to believe what you eat matters as well.
Yeah, she talked about that too.
Because our brains are fat.
Sure.
They're all fat, and they're in cholesterol, believe it or not. And then we're told not to have cholesterol because it's bad.
And don't
when in
eat
fact
fat.
It's something our bodies create. So how can it be bad for us?
Right.
So it's really weird. The information, you know, we get this great information, but it's so skewed from what we've been led to understand. It's just really mind-boggling.
Well, and I hate to sound like, you know, a broken record, but you get the government involved.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, fat's bad. So now let's take all the fat out and let's pump it full of sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Well, now that's bad for you. So now what do? We're swinging all the way back towards these whole foods and these raw way of eating.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Eat butter. Eat sticks of butter. It's just fat. It's regular fat.
Well, and you shouldn't eat sticks of butter, but it's not as bad for you as everybody's.
As the margarine.
Right. Margarine. It's all chemicals.
Near margarine because it's not even real. Butter's real, at least, you know. But margarine is...
Everything in moderation is what I have always told. But I mean, there are certain things you just should not eat. I mean, that's how I kind of see it. There are just certain things you just shouldn't eat. And I had some of it today. I had some Halloween candy today. And it's just all, I mean, it's just all chemicals. Talk about margarine. It's all chemicals. I mean, it's all shit. It's the majority of it's not chocolate. If I had some M&Ms, I think I had M&Ms. It's not good for you, you know?
Prove it. I mean, that's what somebody would say, you know?
Anyway, so Oregon, Alaska, and Washington, D.C. all are now pro-marijuana county areas.
So...
And we already have Colorado.
Already have Colorado. Yeah, so not medical. It's all just straight up marijuana, pro-marijuana.
Northwest. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and the nation's capital. I mean, that's a pretty significant one, too.
Wild.
That's pretty cool.
If the nation's capital it's legal there.
It should be legal everywhere. I think I think the tide is turning. You know, we had a friend of ours who's a police officer. We were playing Cards Against Humanity. I made some comment about medical marijuana. He's like, you know what? I was pretty progressive. He's like, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen pretty soon. And I was like, will that cause you more trouble? He's like, not really. You know, marijuana is not something that they really harp on anymore, it seems like, even if you are caught with it. I mean, I think even in some states, it's just a misdemeanor. If you have a joint in your pocket, they slap you on the wrist, you get in trouble for it, you get a ticket, but they let you go. It's not like they arrest you and 3 strikes and you're in jail anymore. At least around here. I don't know about anywhere else in the nation.
I just met someone who has a granddaughter who was she's a little girl, and she helped to get medicinal marijuana bill passed here in Iowa. So it's in the works, it sounds like.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I'd be curious. And then we've had this discussion quite a few times, and I can understand the idea from businesses' points of view. So it's you medically, it's okay for you to have it. And you're getting high to help you counteract whatever issues you're having, which I think is still different than drinking, which is self-medicating for, you know, which is poison, as I enjoy a glass of it myself. You still can't drive a forklift, you know, so how are businesses going to regulate that? And they have every right to be thoughtful about how that's going to work.
You have to have safe workers.
But again, it's not like, you know, alcohol is not good for me if I show up to work and I'm intoxicated. It's a different thing. If I'm using something, whether it's if I'm on opiates and I'm at work, I can't drive machinery either, right? If I have a knee problem and I need a little pain med, and so I take some Tylenol 3 for it, I can't go to work and drive a forklift either, right?
If you're taking any drug from the doctor and it makes you drowsy,
right,
and you go to your boss, you go back into work, you're like, this makes me drowsy. Well, you probably shouldn't be here since all you do is sit on a chair and stare at the wall. Okay, yeah, probably shouldn't be here. Or you're driving forklift or handling heavy machinery.
So it'll be interesting to see. I'd be curious. Maybe I want to research that a little bit better about how are businesses in Colorado handling that.
Dude, yeah, I've been asking you this ever since Colorado made it legal. It's like, because marijuana stays in your body so much longer, even though you're not technically high, you have your common sense about you. It still registers if you were to do a P test. So the testing itself would have to be dramatically different.
Well, isn't it true, though, that the medical marijuana, it doesn't have that chemical in such a great amount as, what is it, THC or something like that? As, the kind you buy and get high with. So to me, it's apples and oranges.
Well, from California.
Is it different, Todd?
It is different in the sense that different strands of marijuana give you different highs. And I think that the medical marijuana in California, you can get different strains of it. So most marijuana now is not the marijuana that my parents smoked in the 60s. The stuff now is a ton stronger. It's all been kind of like genetically modified to do certain things and to have more THC in them. Now, I think my brother at one point said, "Hey, are you ever going to get medical marijuana since you have glaucoma?" And I said, "My glaucoma's okay. I don't need any marijuana for it." He's like, "Dude, if you can get government weed, why would you not do it? Because it's the best weed there is. They give you they give you like a pill bottle, like you only get your normal pills in from the doctor, and inside it are these little green toothpicks looking things that are these perfectly rolled. I have never seen it, but he said perfectly rolled joints that have a certain amount in each. There's a certain amount of THC in each one of them, and there's 10 doses in there. And he's like, it's the best quality they can make. And then the stuff that you can buy in California now, I mean, from what I've been told, it can bake you pretty good. I think it's just depending. But you can abuse anything. I think that's part of it too. I can.
Well, yeah, you could smoke 5 instead of 1.
Right, exactly. And so what's going to be the difference? So, but I think the THC in levels in marijuana now are much higher than they used to be. It's not like my dad's marijuana.
But also in medical marijuana, though.
Yeah, it's been genetically altered so that it produces more THC than it used to.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I always thought it was the other way around.
It's probably for economics and things like that, and controllability. They can control things better. I think it's part of it too.
The really sad stuff about the stories that bother me the most about marijuana, and when you're talking about states that are legalizing it, it's there's a story today about a man that was shot and killed by a cop because the cop was trying to arrest him. He had marijuana on him with the intent to sell. The guy struggled, tried to resist arrest. The cop shot him. So here's something that is becoming legal by states.
By some states, yeah.
By some states, yet there's still people in prison for years and years and years they'll never get back.
That are kids.
For a substance that is now legal by multiple states. And there's people that are still getting shot over a substance that other people look at and go, it's not that big a deal. It's no worse.
Well, and it's the same thing as Keone Coke, who was here in the past saying, you're going to regulate a weed that grows in the ground. How can you regulate? How can you tell me I can't use this for whatever I want when it just grows in the ground? Nobody has control over that. You can't tell me what I can't do with whatever is just growing right there. That's really the ultimate. So, yeah, somebody died for a plant. It just seems kind of crazy.
Somebody's little boy or somebody's little girl. It's somebody's son. It's somebody's daughter. Somebody is going to jail. And when I put it in terms like that, when I think about my kids and and
that's how everybody should think about it. You have to have that kind of empathy or some understanding about it before you can really kind of take it all in.
Me personally, I think whatever I want to do to my body, no one else has a right to tell me what I can or cannot do, which leads me into this current story of Brittany Maynard, who Her story was my right to death with dignity at 29.
And she had planned it out pretty well, and she did it before she had planned to do it because she was becoming in such tremendous pain.
And she was having seizures, and
her quality of life was rapidly going downhill, and so she decided to do it earlier than she had planned. And I told Matt this today. I have some coworkers who, one of them was pretty thoughtful and goes, I can see how that would be really difficult if you're in that much pain. But she's a big born-again Christian. And she said, but I believe in miracles. I have to believe in miracles. And I was like, well, I think I believe in miracles too. But I also I can believe in hard science. And if I'm in a body that is causing me nothing but agony, that doesn't sound very, I don't know, godly to me. I think I would be done too. I think I'd be finished. We have a little pact.
Yeah, we have an illegal pact. So I'm glad we're bringing this up. I'm glad that we're bringing it up on air because you're of sane mind and I'm of sane mind, and you're stating on the record on a recorded video and audio show that if you were ever terminal, you would want me to take you out into the woods and shoot you in the head.
If I had ALS, my wife already knows this too. Is that if I had ALS and I'm in a bed and I can communicate by spelling things with a keyboard and my eye movements, I'm done. I have imagined it would probably happen before I got to that point. We've talked about this again back at the brain disorders in the NFL. There's an NFL player and he's got this big, huge hospital bed, flat screen TV over his fireplace, and he sits there and he cannot talk, cannot move, cannot eat, can't do anything, but he communicates with her via this screen. And I could not imagine a worse life than
living that way.
And people say, well, I couldn't imagine being paralyzed from the neck down. Well, that sounds bad to me too, but at least I could talk. At least I could communicate with people. To have no communication and have a perfectly functioning brain, but everything else didn't work, well, call it quits.
My opinions on things have changed. As I get more information, I'm not like that president that we had a few years ago who wouldn't change his opinion even though new facts were coming in. That's all right. That's okay for him. But for me, I'll have stated an opinion and then, I get educated on something and my opinion changes. But as of right now, I don't know what it feels like to be paralyzed from the waist down or from the neck down or to have a terminal illness. But I do know the idea of not being in charge of my own body and not having the right to do what I want to do with myself. It's me. You shouldn't have any control over me. The state shouldn't have any control over me. My wife shouldn't have any control over me. This is me. If I hate this place, this plane of existence, I should be able to do whatever I want to do. Even if you don't have some huge degenerative disease, you're that depressed, your life is pretty much a hell. That's a good thing, a good comment, because I had a long debate with a buddy of mine, and we started talking about this subject and this Brittany Maynard, and he goes, you know what? Yeah, I can totally be behind the fact that she's terminally ill, and that's what she wanted to do. Yeah. I go, okay, now what if she wasn't terminally ill? What if she was just somebody who was like, you know what? I am of sound mind. I just hate this place. I don't like my life. I don't like my lot in life. I look around at what choices I have. I don't have any. And I don't want to be here anymore. So what gives you the right, or the state the right, or some church the right to say, nope, you have to stay here. Even though you think it's torture, even though you think this is hell on earth to you, how you perceive this plane of existence, it's hellish to you. I'm choosing to keep you here. I'm choosing to not let you die with dignity or with ease. I'm leaving you with no other outs other than to go crazy, to do something drastic, to do something messy, And he goes, wow, I hadn't thought of it like that. He goes, now I probably would have kept arguing with you, but I started thinking about my father, who's not terminally ill, but he's in his 80s, and he can't hardly remember anything anymore. But he's not terminally ill. And I said, well, what's your definition of terminally ill? We're all terminal. We're all going to die at some point. So why is it that, oh, well, you're going to die at 40. Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and decide to kill yourself. Oh, you're going to die painfully. Oh, okay. We're going to let you decide. Oh, you're not going to die with pain? You're just going to die really old? You're not going to know who your loved ones were? You're not going to remember who you are? Every morning that you wake up, you're not going to know where you're at? No. Yeah, we're going to make sure you stay alive. Who draws that line?
Well, and I think that it only really comes up and is in the median issues like those kind of happen is because somebody is terminally ill and didn't have those things in place to kind of say, I want them to pull the plug, or
DNR.
A DNR, right?
Necessitate.
Yeah, and see, and if I'm terminal or I have brain, I already have a DNR in case those kind of things happen. Why would I want to come back? You know what I'm saying? My wife, it's part of our living
if something happens and your wife's not around and you get in a car accident and you don't have that DNR on you,
you're right. Well,
you're going to be resuscitated.
But that's okay. I mean, if I'm in a car accident and somebody's on, if a good Samaritan, being an EMT or a firefighter, doesn't know that about me and they bring me back because they're doing their jobs, I'm okay with that. I understand that. I'm not going to be pissed because somebody was doing their job.
Some people have been.
I know that's ridiculous because if you don't have, how does anybody supposed to know those things?
Well, some people go as far as to have the DNR bracelets and
tattoo.
And things like that.
A DNR tattoo.
Oh, yeah. Once you,
and then they're like, well, what does that mean?
Why is that upside down?
What does that DNR
I have no
mean?
idea what that reads.
It's my favorite band.
You have
DNA?
it?
No, DNR.
Well, the tattooist was drunk when he did it.
Some of those bad tattoos.
But you know what? A lot of what we're talking about right now, not so much with Brittany Maynard, which
it should be a wonderful thing. It should be a happy thing. If somebody is that sick and that ill, in the case of her specifically, we should celebrate the fact that she is without pain anymore. She's without this horrible disease, and so no matter what you believe, she is out of this plane of existence, as you term, which I really like. She's out of this plane of existence that was causing her a tremendous amount of pain, and we should all be happy about that.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not saying I'm right when I say this, but this is just how I feel. I've never been able to wrap my brain around when people go, yeah, good on you, mate. You're a fighter. You got that terminal cancer, but you've been fighting it. You've been fighting it for 4 years. Great job, fighter. You got that will to fight and live. Good job. Yeah, but your family is now indebted to all your medical bills for the rest of their lives. You've possibly ruined your family's lives with those. Now, again, this is only my personal opinion. I don't think that is brave. Me personally. I don't think it's brave. I think if you want to fight, go ahead. If you want to try everything you can, okay, that's all right. I've just never been able to wrap my brain around getting behind somebody who's just, they're not thinking of anybody else but themselves.
Well,
when they're
thinking of themselves, thinking I might be able to stay around longer to be with my kids or my family. I mean, that's how they're thinking of it. I'm the father of this family, and so I want to be around longer.
But the thing that we're not framing all this into is we all die. So if you haven't been living your life every day knowing that if today I get in a car accident and die, I know personally that I've told my daughter and both my sons and my wife that I love them and I'm proud of them at least 3 times today. I've said that stuff. I've played with my kids today. I'm not going to go to bed tonight going, oh, man, I really should have done something with my wife or said something. I should have at least said I love you.
Right. Isn't that an old Garth Brooks song?
I don't know. Is it? But one of the things that can give you a better quality of life is what you put in your mouth.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. It's like...
Is that?
It's true, though, right?
That's his segue. That's why I'm laughing, is that's his segue.
I saw that.
Did you have something else that you wanted to talk about? Was there
please. Why would I ever want to ruin that segue?
That was a great segue.
Well, I think I'm going to have to ruin it because, well, maybe not. Because
go ahead.
it does matter what you put in your mouth. And, food is medicine.
Yeah.
Didn't Hippocrates, is that how you say his name? Let food be thy medicine. Let thy medicine be thy food. And, there are no cancer cures out there, but certainly there are people that have diminished or totally healed themselves of cancer with what they eat. And because, our government and pharma and all that is so intertwined with each other, no one can really talk about this,
Have you seen that documentary, Cancer, the Forbidden Cure?
No, I haven't.
I'm pretty sure it is on YouTube and Vimeo. Cancer, the Forbidden Cures. I watched this one day. I was at work. I watched this, and it blew my mind because it went way back to like the early 1900s.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there. Of course, you're gonna have the good with the bad. But you had a nurse who. One of the many stories was there was a nurse who was helping an elderly woman, and she noticed there were some scars or there were some other things on this woman's body. So she started asking about her medical history, and this is early 1900s, and the lady goes, "Oh, well, I had cancer before, years and years ago. I had it a long time ago." And she goes, "Well, what do you mean you had it before? You don't have cancer now. You're dying of something else." She wasn't dying of cancer. And she goes, "Well, I learned this recipe. It was like an all natural, all whole food type of thing. And it cured me." And so that got the nurse intrigued about this. And so then the nurse started to administer this. I don't know if it's potion or if it was a potion or if it was a way of eating, like a diet that had certain things in it. But there was patients who were being written off by doctors saying, "Nope, you're terminal and we can't do anything for you." So they would kick them out of the hospitals. And then those patients would come to her. And then years later, they're still alive. Mm-hmm. And so this nurse got shut down. And she goes, "Listen, why are you shutting me down? I'm taking in the patients that you won't see anymore. So what's wrong with this?" And so they kind of labeled her like a snake oil salesman. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. Mm-hmm. Better wash that down with some more poison.
At least we're honest about it.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
really.
Yeah,
seriously.
And there's a couple of places down in Mexico because they can't.
The Gerson Institute.
I was just going to talk about the Gerson Institute.
About raw food juicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you juice? Do you do the whole raw food thing?
Well, you don't have to juice to be, into raw food, but I did do some juicing, yeah. Yeah, I have a juicer. It's just a pain in the, what to clean.
It is.
It is.
I'd rather blend.
Yeah, I'm a
smoothie girl.
I'm a blend just because of the convenience alone. To be honest,
yeah. It's
they
much
say that
easier to clean. Yeah.
Well, to have kale juice as access is pretty fantastic. I love it because I know it's so nutrient dense. But I gotta tell you, it's such a pain in the ass. Well, I love it because my wife always says, "Did you mow the lawn?" I'm like, "No." She goes, "What's that smell?" I was like, "That's the kale I just juiced." It's like, oh Jesus, it really does smell
very
strong.
Green. Yeah.
Well, Laurie, you have brought some treats with us today. The reason why I didn't talk about SweetRawJoy, which I normally talk about at the beginning of every podcast, is because
she is here.
Founder of SweetRawJoy is here, and that's Laurie. So what did you bring? I'm interested in what all you brought, and I want to talk about how you got into this, and how did you put this together?
Yeah, I want to know that first and foremost. How did this get started?
Well, I guess it was about 2008. I just ran and trained for a marathon.
Good for you. Which one?
The one in New York City. It was the More Marathon for women over 40.
Oh, cool.
So you had to be 40 or older to run in this race, or you had to be with someone that was 40 or older. So there's a lot of, daughters and their moms and their aunts and their cousins and the whole, women family. So I trained and ran for that in Central Park. It was all in Central Park. So it was really a dream come true because I'd always wanted to run in the New York City Marathon. That goes all over the boroughs.
City, oh yeah.
Yeah, the thousands and the thousands. But I had the best time being in a smaller race with mostly women, all in Central Park. But my favorite part of the city. Every time we go, I'm always drawn to the park. So it was kind of like, wow, this is way better than the other one, you know?
And the park is as great as everybody says it is. I mean,
Oh my
I
God,
went
it's
running in
amazing.
the park as well. It's like you turn a corner, there's 4 softball fields. You turn another corner, there's a huge grass field, people playing
And there's
football.
horses.
There's
and people
horses.
riding and
A big
great
lake in the middle.
lawn.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Huge.
It's amazing.
It's huge. And it gets even more amazing. I was at a spiritual group, and one of the people was talking about this movie called The Pale Male. It's about a hawk named the Pale Male who was nesting in a co-op on 74th and 5th Avenue where Mary Tyler Moore lived, believe it or not, at the penthouse, and for years. And it would attract people across at the park with their binoculars and everything, looking at these, because the baby hawks would come out and they'd
Sure.
fly around, and then they'd mate and all this. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd never heard of that before. I was like, I wish I'd known that when I was there. I would have checked it
I
out.
had Decorah Eagles. Every year I watch the Decorah Eagles while they're hatching.
Is that
and-
still there?
Oh, yeah. The
Are they
Decorah,
really?
The best part is when you look and the eagles are sitting there, the little baby eaglets are there, and there's like a rabbit on the side of the nest, and there's a bird on the side of the nest, and they get to feed, because those nests are like 12 feet wide and like a ton. That's how much they weigh.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, eagle nests are enormous and really heavy because they have to
Well,
really
they're
nest high.
big birds, you
Yeah.
know. So wow.
Yeah, if you go to Decorah Eagles online, you can watch. You can just there's a video camera
Really?
on them all the time, and you can just watch them.
And I worked with a guy who had that. As soon as he could open up the screen, he would log into that, and he'd have it on the computer in the background all the time.
I
Like,
watched.
dude, it's a bird.
I watched like 2 or 3.
Big bird.
Yeah.
I mean, you can check it out. You want to check it out once a day? That's fine. Check it out. Get on there. Oh, yeah, still alive. Cool. Off. Go to something else. You're a freaking bird
never know what they're
stalker.
gonna do.
Stalker.
I watched one where I think there was a huge snowstorm, an ice storm in Iowa, and I was watching, and here's this mother eagle with her wings cupped and all the babies underneath there, and she just got her head tucked, and it's the screen on the cameras slowly, completely
Filling up.
icing, just icing over
God.
completely, and there she is, hunkered down with her babies. Really cool. Anyway, Central Park, you're running a marathon. Sorry.
No. I have to tag on to that because Richard and I, we trained groups for running, you know, the run walk method by Jeff Galloway. And we were running by Cedar Lake, you know, that.
Yeah, the loop.
Yeah. And it was winter, and here comes an eagle, swoops down and grabs a fish out of that lake with both of its claws. And we were like, you know, all of us were like, oh my God, did we just see that? It was cool.
I don't think
Right here.
they nest
Cedar
there,
Rapids.
but they do feed out of that lake a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
you see them sitting on branches all the time down there. That's a really cool place.
Wow.
The sag wagon's down there. That's why I know.
Sag-wagon.
I love the
Yeah.
sag wagon.
The who?
It's called the sag wagon. It's like a pub that's down on the bike on that same lake, and I love it.
If
It's
you
a
haven't
really
noticed it yet, Lori, we're kind of big into our
Into your brew?
brew.
Our brews.
Yeah. I'm trying to turn a new corner though. Trying to turn a new corner. I recently what?
I'm looking at you skeptically. Go ahead. Sorry.
I recently found a woman. It didn't have to be a woman. I'm not trying to be sexist. I am a little bit. But this lady, I told her that I had admitted that I cannot cook at all. I cannot cook. I can't. I can blend a few things. I've done.
You can uncook. Oh my God. That's what uncooking is. Blending. Oh my God.
I can uncook
See,
a
now
few
you
things.
Can uncook. Yeah.
I can uncook a few things.
Yeah.
I can grill some steaks and some hamburgers, but I can't like put together a dish. When there's more than 5 ingredients, I get lost. When I have to what is it? When I got to turn on the oven and I got to get the temperature up. What's that called?
Preheat.
When I got to preheat, it goes downhill quick. My kids are like, "Oh, is Dad cooking tonight?" I'm trying. Let's go out to eat, guys. Let's go. It's getting late. We got to go. We got showers and we got homework.
And see, I cook almost every night, so that's a big difference between us.
Interesting.
So I was telling this lady that I am around quite often that I cannot cook, and she said, "I'm a fantastic cook." And I said, "And humble." And I said, "This is really what I want. I've always thought that this would be a great idea on many different levels, but I've always personally wanted a grandmotherly figure, someone who's retired, who has nothing better to do with their day than to show some young, stupid man how to cook. somebody who really wants to pass on their family recipes or something, and she just wants to get old school with me because you walk into the pantry and I'm like, yeah, I don't see anything. I see a bunch of nothing. and you think of like my grandmother or my great grandmother just always whipping together amazing meals. I want to be able to do that. I want to have the confidence to do that. I almost have a panic attack when I think about preparing any type of food. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
I think he needs to come to my Uncooking 101
I think
class.
he does.
You
Totally agree.
Okay. See, I didn't know this. You have uncooking classes.
I'm going to be having uncooking classes. Uncooking 101 classes at the Newbo, the Newbo
Kitchen?
City Market, the Kirkwood Kitchen. Yes.
When is that starting up?
It's going to start in January, and we're going to make nut milk. And
Okay.
we're going to make cheese.
Ooh, yum.
And we're going to make desserts.
Now, I have tried my hand at making my own almond milk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's pretty
See,
impressive.
I'm a little adventurous in that
Wow.
regard.
Okay. And how did
And-
it go?
Great. I had, so I soaked the almonds for 24 hours,
Cool.
dumped the water, filled it back up again for another 8 hours, dumped the water again, filled it back up with water, and then with my juicer, because I have an Omega Vert.
It's a pretty
juicer.
serious. It's a pretty serious juicer.
To me, it's a serious juicer. So do a scoop of nuts and water through the juicer. All the pulp goes out one side, all the milky juice comes out the other. So then I would add like a splash or two of vanilla extract, 4 dates. That might be it. Oh, and a couple of shakes of sea salt.
Wow.
So I tried
it
that,
would
and
be
it worked
good.
pretty good. That is great with other blends, other fruity blends. That's really awesome. So I did that a few times, but if I'm not on top of it, if I don't use it right away, the shelf life on that is pretty short.
What you can do is just drain, rinse, and put them in the fridge in the water. Just have them covered in water, and they'll keep longer that way. And you can grab a few for a salad, or
The
you can
almonds?
the sprouted almonds. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to blend them. You can throw them in salads or put them on your cereal or whatever.
So how did you get going on this?
Well, I know we took a long way around to come
Man,
back.
that's the way it goes around here. Sorry.
No. This is fun. I'm glad you guys are keeping me on task because I can get off and wherever. But so in
I don't hear that
2008,
very often.
not keeping someone on task.
Keeping anybody else on task. Good gracious. Anyways, go ahead. 2008.
Yeah. So trained and ran for the marathon. Have you ever trained for a marathon?
I've done a half marathon.
Well, half. That's pretty good race too. But there's training that's involved. A few weeks of quite a few weeks of training, especially for a marathon. You got to eat. Good food that provides the calories you need to train with. And I was running 4 and 5 hours on Saturdays, And I used the Jeff Galloway method, which is the run walk method. So you run
So
for
what is that?
Well, it's about running for 4 minutes and walking for 1 minute or for 30 seconds. And what happens is, when you're running, you're going like this and then you start to go this way.
All right, so
Because
as you're
your
running,
body
it's kind
just-
of amping up.
Your body just can't keep that pace,
Okay,
Unless
okay.
unless you're, a marathon, an Olympian, or whatever. But normal people, you start to degrade. Your speed starts to degrade. But when you take those micro breaks, it allows you to stay at your pace. And I'll tell you what proved it to me that it was working was, well, first of all, I ran 2 halves before I ran the whole. I ran and trained for the Des Moines Marathon in
yeah,
October.
the dam.
Nope, the half marathon.
This is a Des Moines Marathon.
The IMT.
okay.
The IMT marathon / half marathon. Well, I ran the half, but that was one of my warm-ups for the full in April in New York. And when I was there, the day before the race, I met Jeff Galloway, and Jeff Galloway is a 1972 Olympic marathon runner.
Is he the guy that you're following his program?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't following it yet.
Oh, you weren't? Yeah.
But it convinced
okay.
me because I met him on Saturday. The race was on Sunday, and he said, so I'd heard of him, And so I stopped and said hi and met him and whatnot. And he said, well, you know, what do you got planned for tomorrow? And I says, well, I'm running this race to train for a full marathon. And I ran one half marathon before this one. And he said, well, how'd you do? What was your time? And I told him, and I think it was a little like 2 hours and 6 minutes or something like that.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, for the half, it wasn't bad. Or maybe it was 2:12. So anyway, so he asked me, well, what's your goal for tomorrow? And I says, well, I want to kind of beat my time if I can. And he says, well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to run 4 minutes and walk 1 minute. And I'm like, really? And then he explained to me how this works. You know, when your body has those micro breaks, it allows your body to recover enough to keep your pace steady. And you're going to have more energy, and you're going to be injury free if you run this way. It's the only way I run now. And so I was like, And it was a real leap of faith because, as you know, you train for a race. You want to wear the same clothes. You want to have the same breakfast. You want to get up at the same time. You know, you want to replicate what you've been doing for 10, 12, 13
I always thought
weeks,
when I was running, I always thought of it's kind of like when I'm drinking beer. Like you don't want to break the seal. Once you break the seal, once you stop, you're going to stop all the time.
Yeah.
So when I was running that half, I thought, I can't stop. If I ever stop, I'm not going to be able to start again.
Well, you're not going to be able to start running again, but you give yourself a minute of walking, and it makes a huge difference. And my first thought is I did the Chicago Marathon in 2010.
That's not the one where people died, right?
That's Boston.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
Chicago was a really hot summer.
It was the year before that.
Okay.
People drank too much water and died because they drank too much water, which is kind of crazy. And then one person had a heart attack. No, this was 10-10-10. So it was 2000. It was October 10th, 2010.
Wow.
And
I was there.
Knucklehead went with me.
Yep.
And I did 18 miles just fine. Had a great time. And it's like New York in the sense that you run through all the boroughs, the parts of the city. You run out and back all the way around the city. And then I hit a wall at 20, and I pretty much walked and jogged the last 6. And those are the 6 worst miles of my entire life because I was chafing really badly at that point too. And I could see how running for 4 minutes and walking for 1 and running for 4 and walking for 1. You can keep pace with people that way. I could see how that'd be really beneficial.
So you tried it. It was a leap of faith, and you did it.
I took that leap of faith, and I did it. And it was so hard, though, because that first, 3 miles, you're like, a gazelle, and everybody's running. There go the Kenyans, And so you're like, everyone's running, and you got to walk, and you're like, I'm not at mile 10 yet, I don't want to. It was so hard not to want to, because the adrenaline's going and the ego's engaged, fully engaged, So that first time I was like, wow, this is really hard. But I did it, and I had just a regular old watch, and he said every time you get to the 5 after, 10 after, or whatever, you walk for your minute and you start running again. And it gets to the next 5, you walk for your minute, you keep running. And I'll be damned if I didn't shave like 6 minutes off my time.
Huh.
And my husband saw me at the first half marathon I did. It was in New York City. It was in the same marathon. I just did the half one that time.
Okay.
And then I went and did the Des Moines one, and then I did the full after that. But anyway, he saw me finish that first one, and I was like that. If I start walking, I'm not going to finish. Because what happened is I had a T-band thing going on, and it was hurting, and I was like, if I stop, I'm done. And I kept going that whole half, and I limped across the finish line, and I went immediately to the medical tent. And they said, well, there's nothing permanently damaged, but you definitely need to ice this, this knee down. And so the second half, using Jeff's method, I'm just galloping across the finish line. He said, oh my God, the difference between your first half and this one is like night and day.
And see, I wouldn't even care if I shaved any time off my run. If I felt better, because when I got done with that marathon, everybody's like, hey, let's go have a beer. And everybody's like, and I went right out to the side. I found a patch of grass and I curled up in the fetal position with a tinfoil blanket around me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was so horrible. And I see a lot of these races, and I don't train very well. That's part of my problem too.
And we don't eat very well.
And we don't eat very well. But then I thought it would be so nice to do one of these things and then just be able to really enjoy the whole atmosphere afterwards, because some of them are pretty fun to be part of.
Yeah.
And so, that would be so nice. And so you train people that way now? You do?
I was. Richard and I were both doing it. Yeah, for a couple of years. Anyway, after that half, I was like, oh man, I am so going to use this for that full. because I knew that's what the goal was,
Sure.
And so I did. I trained the whole race, and in Jeff's training, you actually run farther than your 26 miles.
So that when you go to run the marathon,
That's right. Your wall is farther away. It's not at the 20. It's further down. You know what I mean? And
So
that's
the training still has distances, but
Yes.
you just do it 4 and 1 the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Do you ever like going, oh, my minute's almost up. Oh God, I gotta run again. Do you ever have those moments, or it's just a piece of cake once it's 4 and 1?
No.
Not now. Oh. There's my mindset. You already know where I'm going.
4 and 1.
Actually, it was kind of like that on Monday. You get out there and you're like, oh man, I don't think I have it, but I'm damned if I didn't do 6 miles. So I was like, psh, all right. So sometimes, you start out and you don't think you can, but, you're listening to something good, and you just keep going, and before you know it, you're done.
Got something to drive you forward. Nice.
No, God,
Shut up.
I would at that point, as soon as that came on my headphones, I'd be like, all right, I feel like I just finished a marathon. I'm just going to lay down in the fetal position. Unless, of course, it's Tino Cruz's beats.
There you go. Oh,
Not yours.
Do you think you're going to do another one?
Yeah, someday,
So you really enjoyed it, but I mean, do you think the prep was really tough, and so it's hard to kind of keep thinking about doing another one because it takes so much training?
It takes a lot of training and time, but yeah, I want to run another one, But for this one, what really proved it to me was in that race. At the start of the race, a sea of half marathoners, 6,000 half marathoners.
Wow.
200 marathoners. It was the last one they did because of that. You know what I mean? They're only getting 200 people to do the whole thing, and 6,000. So they thought, I think we can lose the marathon and just do the half. And so they still do the half now. So that was the last time they offered the full marathon. But what a way to go out, because I met Katherine Schwitzer. She is the woman who in 72 tried to get thrown out of the Boston Marathon because they didn't allow women to run in it at that time.
I was 1.
Yeah. Well,
And
if you're a woman and you're a runner, you know who Katherine Schwitzer is.
And she
She
they
was
weren't
there.
allowed to be.
No, it was an all-male race.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. It is kind of nuts, isn't it?
This isn't her.
Oh.
Is it? That's not her.
It's always shocking to hear things like that.
Is that how you spell her name?
I think it might be with lose the E, maybe. SHWIT.
right here?
Just put Boston, or 1970s or something. Yeah, Boston, 1970 or something like that. And it might be a K. There she is. See him trying to grab her and take her off of the course. And some of the men around her helped her and helped and fought him off, and she finished the race.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's intense.
So you got to meet her.
I got to meet her,
How neat.
and my other heroine, Greta Weiss. Greta Weiss. If you've ever watched the New York City Marathon in the 80s and the 90s, and you saw a woman with long blonde hair and little gloves on, that was Greta Weiss.
Huh.
And she was another woman who inspired me. She was there as well, and it was like,
Well, it's cool.
okay, I can die now,
And you had training as well from the person that you were. That's really cool.
Yeah. So start the race, and I'm in a sea of half marathoners, 200 marathoners, and I found 2 other marathoners, and I was talking to them, and we started together, and then we kind of split up because I was doing the run walk and they weren't. At mile 20, I caught up to one of them, and I went by her like she was standing still, and I don't know if she even finished the race. She was
Rough. Huh?
sucking wind. She looked like she wanted to just curl up by this.
No, that's perfect because I say it like that to him all the time. Seriously.
I look okay right now.
No, she looked you, like you just got done running 20 miles.
And you wanted to curl
On a
up
good
by the
day.
side of the road in the fetal position. That's what she looked like she wanted to do.
You fit in perfectly.
She's big.
Thank
She's
you,
fat.
Lori.
She likes to drink beer.
She's
That's not.
yeah, but she brought a little bit more energy to a podcast. So you're meeting these amazing people. You're doing the 4 to 1, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, finish the circle. How did you start with this? How did that get you going on this?
Well, here's the thing. Training for a marathon, you eat a lot of food. but you run it all off, on Saturday, 4 or 5 hour run or whatever.
Sure.
And after the race was over, I didn't quite change my eating habits. You know what I mean? Doing the high carb, high calorie stuff. I kind of got used to that, really good stuff that I could run off. And I thought, okay, this isn't working because, my weight was starting to creep up. And I'm like, that's not what I want to happen. And so I thought there must be a way for me to eat healthy and still have it really be good and really satisfy me and really hit, what I'm trying to...
Nail that sweet tooth.
Yeah. And so I got online and I found raw food. And I found it in a recipe for mango cobbler. And I make it now.
Really?
Mango cobbler. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I can make a cobbler without wheat, without sugar, and it's made out of nuts and mangoes and dates and coconut oil. What the heck is coconut oil? It was like, it was a huge epiphany.
Did you eat like that at all? I mean, were you aware of that type of food at all before then?
I mean, raw food to me was salad and carrot sticks.
Okay, so you were like the majority.
Well, yeah, I'm a salad person.
Sure, okay.
But I didn't know you could make raw dishes with nuts. And so especially not desserts, because nuts are that's one of my favorite foods,
Right.
So
you-
that's how I got involved with it.
So you did the first thing, and then now, how many different desserts do you offer now
Oh my gosh.
on your website?
I offer about 7 or 8 because I make them in different ways. For instance, you guys are sampling the Feed, which is the Feed Your Joy fudge.
This is absolutely delicious. I won't be a caveman. I'll use my fork.
So what do you think?
Uncooked, not cooked.
That is correct.
All right.
And it doesn't have melted chocolate. It is made with raw cacao powder.
How did you come across that?
To be honest, I came across all of these recipes on the internet or recipe books. I got interested in raw food and I just couldn't figure this out. And I was like, oh my God. So I go to Barnes & Noble and there are book after book after book about raw food. And I'm looking at the recipes and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You can make dishes with nuts and fruits and vegetables. That's easy to understand. But the nuts and the oils and the...
So what all goes into this?
Feed is made with raw cacao powder, of course, hazelnuts or walnuts, almond butter,
Okay.
coconut oil, and coconut nectar, and Celtic sea salt, and some vanilla. That's
Bam.
it. Bam.
Blender.
Yeah, actually, I make those with just a mixer. A hand
Oh,
mixer.
really?
One of the few things I make with a hand mixer. Otherwise, it's in the blender or the food processor. Yeah.
Do you have to get like... all right, now we're going to get serious.
Right. We weren't serious before?
What kind of blender do you use? Because I kind of have...
All right.
I got some bragging rights on my blender here.
Oh, what do you got? A Vitamix, I suppose.
No.
Oh.
Blendtec. High five right here.
High five.
Blendtec, baby.
You got the twister jar?
I don't, or else I would make my own butter.
Well, I've got a twister jar. And I actually, when I was developing this, the maple pecan pie, can you see that?
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
That's
I
perfect.
started with pecan butter. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to... What I do is I find a recipe I like, and I modify it, and I make it my own. And I decided, okay, I'm going to modify this by using my own pecan butter. And I thought I can make my own with my twister jar. And so I was making it, and it turned out, but when I went to do it on a larger scale, I just about burned out my Blendtec. So I was like, that ain't going to work. This needs to be replicatable. So it wasn't replicatable. So I had to start over and find a new recipe and modify that. But if you're making just a small batch for yourself, now and again, perfect. It does a good job.
I've gone to the Newbo market.
Yeah.
And there was a lady there that was selling different butters, different
Yes,
peanut
butter
butters.
me up. Butter
me
me
up.
up.
I had
The honey peanut butter was
the honey
fantastic.
peanut butter, or was it a honey almond butter?
She
I
makes
forget.
both, I think. Yeah.
But there was like a white chocolate
Yeah.
butter. Oh my god, fantastic! But what I really like is I like going there and getting green juices.
Yeah, I like the juice place too.
kind of watching like, oh, I didn't even know that type of machine was available, because I
Whoa.
would get online and I would look for, like, whenever I do anything, this is what my wife cannot stand about me.
This is him to a T.
If I were even to get a small little inkling of interest into something, like, say, podcasting, I immediately go out. Okay, what do I need? I need a mixer. How many mics? Only need 2. Let's go with 4. I always overdo it. So,
This is good.
but when I saw what she was doing with the nuts, I was like, I haven't seen that machine before, and I'm on the computer all the time looking up, like, hardcore, what's the best type of juicer, what's the best type of blender.
Well, those are commercial grade juicers and blenders that they have at that green juice place, right?
I would imagine.
The stainless steel ones are serious,
Right? Yeah, and also at the Butter Me Up. Is that store still there? Are they still doing that?
I believe so.
I don't know where we left off exactly, but we were talking about the different butters and the.
Well, I love that butter though. I mean, the honey peanut butter is my favorite.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Rochelle works there, and she's the gal that I knew. I didn't know the owner herself, but Rochelle is awesome. When I first launched SweetRawJoy, it was at Newbo City Market, and I didn't have these little, sample spoons. I'd run out.
Oh, yeah.
And I went over to her, and of course she said, "Here, take this whole bag. We've been told to use wood because we've been here a while, and they want us to use compostable stuff.
Sure.
We need get rid of these. So here, have them." And I'm like, sweet. But anyway, so she's helped me with a few things, and she even, when I first started making hazelnut fudge, I was making hazelnut butter with hazelnut butter.
Yeah.
And I got it from her, from Rochelle. She made it for me special. She made me a 12-ounce jar just for me, and so that was kind of cool.
I heard that chestnut flour is supposed to be a great flour to bake with because it has more oil in it than like almond flour and things like that. Have you ever used?
I've never heard of chestnut flour.
Do you have no cooking equipment in your house at all? Are you like an anti-cooking person, or do you still bake stuff? Do you still do?
I am not currently doing any cooking.
Really? It's all raw.
Our microwave broke like almost 2 years ago, and we haven't replaced it. I mean, God, isn't that crazy?
Good for you.
Yeah. And actually, there's a space there now, and my husband's like, you know what? We could probably get a dehydrator up there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because we just bought one, and I was in Massachusetts at the time with Alissa Cohen. She's a raw food instructor and chef. And I was there for a few days at a retreat learning how to make her recipes and whatnot. And it's Alissa Cohen, ALISSACOHEN. And while I was gone, here comes a dehydrator, and he's going crazy making donut holes.
Is this? Oh yeah,
making donut holes in a dehydrator.
Yes, with raw donut holes. Isn't that cool? With Brazil nuts. And he found a recipe and he modified it, and he uses Brazil nuts and hazelnut flour.
This shit is
hazelnut
crazy.
Flour. It's crazy.
What the hell? And so dehydrating is not cooking; it's just pulling the moisture out, which in turn is kind of what baking is, right?
Yes, you can. We have a dehydrator where you can adjust the temperature, so you keep it at 105 degrees, and the whole reason you do that is to not kill the nutrients.
And so a dehydrator doesn't kill the nutrients.
No, not if you keep it between 105 and 110 or 15, 18. It depends on who you talk to. Some go as high as 118. Alyssa's about 105 degrees, so I'm keeping it at.
Okay, and so if you're doing raw, I'm assuming you're a vegetarian as well. Mm-hmm. Vegan? No, you do butter.
Well, vegan means no eggs, so yeah.
Do you do butter? No, you don't do cow butter at all or anything like that?
What would I put it on?
I don't know. Jesus.
I mean, I do make breads.
Laura, you're cornering me. I feel uncomfortable.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It's so outside my realm of thinking. I keep on saying the wrong thing because I am not on the same wavelength.
That's what people say. Oh, you're going to your kitchen to bake? I say, no.
No.
I'm unbaking. They're like, oh, Oh, okay.
Isn't that funny?
It's just a paradigm shift.
Because if you think about it, those first commercials you saw on TV with the lady with the Betty Crocker Easy Bake Oven, it was the most convenient thing for a housewife. And they were, look at this fancy new thing that made toast. And it's like all these convenient things to cook stuff. And so you're literally... It's not really that long ago. It's 60, 70 years, but you literally are having to do a reversal in people's thinking.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's crazy. I could not imagine not having my oven or my stovetop. But I mean, I can see how you could get there.
I honestly,
want to make beef jerky.
I've been so brainwashed by the way our normal, I shouldn't say normal, but the way the mainstream is of society, that if you were to take away my microwave and my oven, I would swear to God I was gonna fucking starve. I would start bawling, and I'd get down. Well, unless of course I couldn't go out to eat. If you took away those three things, took away those three things, I would know I'm gonna die.
Well, the hard part is
that's not true.
But we can think about the idea of eating. So you make a vegetable tray, you have a bunch of fresh fruits and vegetables to eat. That's simple enough. But after a while, it's what else can you can't just keep doing that. There's got to be something else going on, or you're going to be in serious trouble.
Yeah.
So I mean, so if you do soup, you can do like you can do soup that just is like heat. I mean, you can do like what's the mixer that you can make soup in? The blender.
The Blendtec.
Is it a Blendtec that can make soup?
Okay, so
but it doesn't heat it up.
That's correct.
It just blends it at a high enough speed that it starts generating some heat to make it warm, right?
Okay, so what you just said was it doesn't heat it up.
Don't be an asshole. People just like me are walking through this. So shut
any blender if left on long enough.
Thank you very much, Laurie. I'm putting it together. He doesn't understand that part. I think that's a really cool thing that a blender will do that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could just do tomato and carrot, and that'd be a great soup.
How many Blendtecs have you gone through?
Oh, good question.
Just one. And I'll tell you, I bought it about 3 or 4 years ago, and it is like a behemoth. It's like this red metal thing. It weighs like 10 pounds. And now I look at them at Bed Bath & Beyond, and they're made out of plastic. And I'm like...
Ooh,
did you like?
If I have to get another one, I'm screwed because they don't make them like I've got.
Get them on eBay or something. Holy mackerel!
Yeah.
Do you have a Blendtec?
Yeah, that's what
he does.
That's what you do. Is yours metal or plastic?
I got the wild side.
Okay, didn't ask you if you have the wild side.
I got the wild side Blendtec.
Is it plastic or is it metal?
Blendtec wild side. I don't know if that's like. Do I got a gang side for the wild side?
Never
the
mind.
Wild side Blendtec blender. It's the overly large pitcher. And is
it plastic or is it fucking metal?
Plastic.
Yeah, it's some type of plastic. It's supposed to be, I don't know if it's unbreakable.
Yes, the base is plastic. It's not metal.
It's a lot different. The wild side is a lot different than I think every pitcher has its pros and cons. Like the one for the butter
on sale for $250.
Yeah.
Blendtecs. Do you know what's the other one that has the little stopper that you can push?
That's the Vitamix.
And you don't like vitamin? You like the Blendtec because of some of the things that they have going on that you like better for blending. Have you ever used the Vitamix?
No, I haven't. I think Richard is just like you. Okay, he gets excited about something, and we get the top of the line, whatever it is, And so he goes online and he researches. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So he researched the Blendtec versus the Vitamix, and this guy, his name is Matt Monarch. Raw Food
Matt
World,
Monarch. Oh
Raw Food World with the dreads, and he had a test, with his.
I never saw him.
And
I never saw him with the dreads, but I did see. I did see the blend off.
He blended an iPhone or something.
Maybe it was
didn't he?
curls. Maybe he didn't have the dreads. He has long curly hair.
Matt Monarch.
I'm getting him confused.
They're all the same.
I've always. Oh no! You're right.
Looks
You're
like
right.
He has dreads, but
no,
it's
you're
curls.
right. You're right. His hair is
very long. Yeah.
Yes.
So they had the blend off.
Yes.
And so Richard's like, okay, I think we need to get the Blendtec, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of like it. I didn't like that thing, I was like, yeah, that looks a little complicated, the Vitamix, So, but the thing is when I went to Alissa's training, she has the Vitamix. Oh. But the thing is you don't have to use that thing,
the plunger.
The plunger or whatever it's called. That's what it's called.
No, it's the plunger.
It's inappropriate looking. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But anyway, I can see why it could be useful, because sometimes you get it too thick and you don't want to have to take the lid off to mix it around.
Sure.
But actually, that's one of the things I learned as well, is you can with the Blend Tech. You can lift the lid and you can help it mix. And that's
Sure.
how I mix my stuff now. To get
you
it
just
really
take off the
smooth,
center
you
plastic.
take the whole top off.
Oh, the whole top
You
off.
could take the center off, but why not just take the whole top
Okay.
off and just... because
Normally, I can't take the top off because when I'm making
if
my
it's too
blends, I
fast.
put
Well, if
it
it's
all
too
the way
full.
to the top.
you don't want to take it off then, trust
No.
me. But, my stuff is about third full of the carafe,
Mm-hmm.
so I can take off the lid, at a low speed and just help it, and that makes it really creamy and smooth.
Now, see, this is what sold me. This video right here, the Blend Tech Blend versus Vitamix.
Yeah.
He'll show what you see in his left hand, our right, is the normal, smaller Blend Tech picture. In the middle is the wild side. And then on the left is the Vitamix.
Right.
And on the Vitamix, she was really having to use the plunger a lot. On the one all the way to our right, his left, the normal one, it took a lot to kind of suck that down. But the wild side was so big and fat, and the propeller, the blender blade, is like 4 inches, I think. That was the selling point. And as soon as he turns it on, zoom, it sucks everything down. It blends everything quickly. It's awesome.
And he used the same amount, but because it's wider, it looks like it has less in it.
Correct. Yeah. And that's what sold me. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm in.
I think I
Blend
might
Tech.
have the wild side because mine is thicker like that too.
Oh, yeah?
I believe so.
And then I watched that, and then I also watched the 5 blender comparison.
I didn't see that.
And this one was really interesting also. The
There's
first
stuff I don't even recognize. Yeah.
This first one, I think it's the KitchenAid, did better than any of them. It actually blended it all without any help. And the Vitamix did horrible at the very end. But yeah, I watched those 2 videos. I'm like, that's it.
Is that a Blend Tech next to the Vitamix?
Yeah, there's a Blend Tech right there
Okay, interesting.
with the older style
Now
picture.
they're sitting on ice.
They have some ice
Okay.
and some. They all have the exact same ingredients, and then just an orange
Ice with
sitting
an
there.
orange.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I would never drink that.
No, but that's
peel.
a real test because the peel would be really, grainy.
Yeah,
And bitter.
and I'm sure by saying this, I already know the answer. Probably you've seen Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Oh yes,
Right?
yes.
I watched that, and I thought for sure that's it. I'm all in. I'm for sure buying this blender, and I'm also getting a juicer. But I did the juicing cleanse for like 9 days of the mean green
Did you? Wow.
thing.
How'd you do?
I made it
get
9
through?
days. It was supposed to be 10 days. I made it 9 days, and then I came home from work one day, and my wife had spaghetti and garlic toast and everything. And I was just sitting there drinking my juice, and I'm like, I'm done. 1 day early. But I had some epiphanies during that time where I was really thinking clearly. I eat nonstop. Unless it was, if it wasn't that 9 days of my life, every other day I eat fairly nonstop. I munch on stuff constantly. When I was younger,
Not good stuff.
yeah, and not good stuff. Like I might have 6 or 7 sodas in one day. I might have 3 or 4 candy bars and 4 or 5 bags of chips. And then I'll have my meals.
Wow.
Right now, Laurie is beside herself.
But you know what?
okay.
It makes sense though. You know why?
Why is that?
Because there's no nutrients in there.
I have to eat so much because my
Because
body
your
is...
body's like, I didn't get what I needed. So you keep eating more and more, and it doesn't fill your body.
satiate.
Yeah. Your body is like, this isn't what I need. You know?
Right.
It's satiating your
Sweet tooth,
the
maybe,
sweet
but-
tooth, yeah,
and
or your.
the fat and the salt, but
Right.
not
But nothing
the
else.
real what the body really wants.
Nothing
What I
else.
hate the idea. What I hate that really bothers me the most is finding out that companies have scientifically found the exact amount of sugar, salt, and fat to put into something, so that you no longer are thinking on your own. that your brain is in motion with what it's perfectly being given, so that before you've even finished chewing the bite that's in your mouth, you're already grabbing more.
You're already
because
thinking
you
about the next
already, your brain is in this mode of like, this is the way it's going to go. And it's hard to break that cycle. I mean, it is really I don't think I've had eating has always been an issue for me. And I'm a bigger person anyways, but still, if I could eat all the time, I would eat all the time. And the most convenient foods are the ones that are worse for us. And that's the biggest part is things are incorrect. And we've talked about this quite a bit on the podcast. We know it's wrong. We know that we're doing the incorrect thing. What keeps us from making those right choices? You know, I mean, he had 9 days. I mean, I've had plenty of great days on smoothies and cleanses and things like that. And you feel almost like you're euphoric because you're so cleansed out and you feel so good.
I'm not bloated.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about food all the time. I actually was thinking, I can't believe I ate so much. I feel great right now. And all I've done is drink this green juice that I've made myself from fruits and vegetables. But I can't believe I'm full right now. I'm not dying I'm not thinking already, okay, in a couple hours I need to be somewhere so that I can get this. Mm-hmm. But I was freaking out because I wasn't having
See, what happens
that
is
chewing.
Yeah, it what it does is it uncovers other things. Mm-hmm. Some of the reasons why you do eat. Anxiety or emotional, you know. And so when you clean out your body, you know, that's one of the things they talked about when I went to Alissa Cohen's training. I was in a room with like 30 women, and there was 2 couples there, you know, a man and woman, and
no other dudes?
Yeah, there was just and another guy by himself. Yeah.
Okay.
So there were 3 men, and everyone else was female.
So if you're looking, gentlemen out there,
raw food.
if you're looking, where is the ratio, the good ratio, women to men? It's the raw food world.
Although Matt Kenny is rocking it. He's an amazing raw food chef. But anyway, at this particular training, there were 3 men and 30 or so women. And what it turned out to be is, you know, at the beginning of every day, Alissa would go to every person and say, "Are you good to go?" Or what are you thinking of? What's on your mind? Are you ready to learn? And if, you know, what we found was that, you know, for me, for instance, I went all raw like 2 weeks before I went. And I've been all 100, as close to 100% as I could get since, September 15th or so, something like that. So a couple months, you know. So what happened was I was starting to sleep less and eat less. And I felt great, so I go to this training, and I think that there are other women that were doing the same thing. You know, they were just kind of getting clean for this. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things we were going there to do was to learn how to be a certified teacher of her information, of her recipes, and her raw living lifestyle. And so we're like, well, we got to walk the talk, right? We got to do this. And so at least that's what I was thinking. So I did it. And what happens is, so she goes to each person and says, "Are you good to go?" And sometimes, you know, most times you're excited, but then there's other times where something came up. And for me, what came up for me was that when I was just developing this idea about SweetRawJoy, my mom was dying. She was getting ready to leave the planet. She was in hospice. And I think we came up with the idea in April, mid-April, and by mid-May, my mom was in hospice. And so as this continued to solidify and become, I was saying goodbye to my mother. And she didn't have the life that I would want. She never left the country. And I've been to Europe a few times, and I want to go to a lot more places. She'd never been on an airplane. She never drove. She raised 5 children. Some of her children were taken away. Some came back, like me. Well, I guess all of us did. But, you know, she had a hard life. She was an alcoholic at one point. And so what came up for me at that training was I finally got my mother. Because she loved food. She loved to cook it. She loved to eat it. She, when I would go to see her, it was let's go out to lunch, and she wants to know everything. What'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have for dinner? What'd you have for here? It was all about the food. But what I got in that training was that is how she communicated with me. That's how she showed her love to me. That's how she showed her love to other people, because she couldn't say the words without losing it, And so talking about food and sharing food, and that was her way of showing love for herself, for her family, and for her friends. She loved to go out to dinner, lunch, whatever. And I got it in that training. So that was my day to melt down.
Awesome.
So she came around, she said, so are you ready to go? And you're like, I don't know.
Pardon me?
So when she came around and asked, are you ready to go for the day?
I was thinking about my mother, and I was one of the last people she talked to, and by the time she got to me, it wasn't going away. And so I said, you know what? It's here. It needs to be talked about. And it was a huge epiphany, and I think it helped a lot of people, because I think a lot of people understand what I was saying about food and emotion are like this for most people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't separate the two. And I've been working on my marketing with Sandy at Ma's Designs, and one of the things we did was, she says, well, what is it about SweetRawJoy? What does it do? And I said, it fills an emotional need. It feeds the body, the mind, the soul, and the eyes. It feeds your eyes. If it's not pretty, why would you eat it?
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow.
One of our last one.
It makes me think about our marketing.
It feeds your eyes. That's like, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we can't show you Todd's face, because you would never stop watching.
Yeah.
Or you'd eat yourself sick.
They chase you down.
You're so
like a celebrity.
Oh my God. It'd be paparazzi. It'd be craziness. We're kind of making you out to be a Sasquatch right now.
We are kind of.
People are going to be like, who is this guy?
I am letting my hair grow out because my wife asked me to see it, because I've been shaving my head like this guy for quite a while, just because I don't have a lot of hair left.
Yeah.
And it's so much. I mean, there's nothing better than getting in a shower and putting a towel on your head, and it's just smooth as a baby bottom. Love it. And so my brother-in-law grew his hair out, and so he and I are the kind of the same. So he grew his hair out over the summer, and it looked really good. And we have kind of like the same kind of slowly receding hairline. And so my wife's like, "Yeah, you should try that." And I was like, "Okay." And I said, it's going to look really bad for a while. I'm going to look like a porcupine, or like a gorilla. My hair sticking straight out from my head. And she said, yeah, that's okay. I just want to see, it's been so long since I've seen you with hair that it'd be interesting. So
at what point did she stop having sex with you? I'm just kidding.
Well, now she has something to grab a hold of.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Jesus. You made me nervous there for a second. You got really aggressive over there.
So how long are you going to let it go?
Oh, I'm not going to get
like that Monarch?
I'm not going to get that crazy. Oh, goodness
No,
gracious.
he's going to go like Jesse Ventura.
Nope. That's not happening either. That's good. That's a very good point, because if it does, all of a sudden I start realizing that it's really thin in the middle and it looks really bad. It's like gone. 2 seconds, it's gone. Yeah. Now, again, like my brother, it was long enough that it laid forward that it looked pretty good, even though it has a pretty receded hairline. So I thought, well, I'll see. Because I have blonde hair and he had blonde hair, and I haven't seen blonde hair for a very long time on my head. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot and we'll see what happens.
So do you still kind of follow Matt, or you met Matt Monarch?
No. I just found him I should say Richard found him on the internet. Yeah.
No,
I haven't been following him lately. No.
Between him and David Wolf, and there was another blender juicer type guy, and the Gracies, they're a jiu-jitsu family, and when it comes to mixed martial arts or martial arts in general, when it comes down to, now I know you're probably a huge fan, and I'm probably just regurgitating boring stuff to you, but if if you don't know anything about mixed martial arts or martial arts, period, there is a form of martial arts called jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And this Brazilian family kind of honed this thing and made it their own. And they have their own way of eating. And all of them, their thinking is, at any time we're ready, you can come up and challenge us, and we will do a fisticuff fight. All no holds barred, bare knuckle. I'll use my style of fighting. You can use yours. You can challenge me, and I'm ready always. So that means even if I'm eating, they encompass the way they eat into that way of fighting also, so that they never gorge themselves. They're never like after Thanksgiving going, "Oh my God, I can't move. I gotta take a nap."
No challenges right now.
Right, but they juice and they blend, and they're very into whole foods, and yeah, I think there's a video of their father eating like 40 oranges, just like nonstop, all organic type of a thing. And so these are the people that I was motivated by, and the
Joe Cross,
the Joe Cross, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I mean, what a great testimony that is. How much money was he saying he was spending a month on prescriptions and medicine because he couldn't touch anybody. Nobody could touch him.
And serious disorders.
Yeah, his skin would flare up.
He was doing steroids.
Steroids.
Which is crazy. You know?
Yeah, and then he decides, he has this idea. That's it. I'm going to juice for 60 days.
Oh, I thought it was 90 days.
I think it was
90.
I think it's 90,
was it 90?
All the way across. But he went across America. It was like a 3-month tour across America, and he juiced for 90 days. Or it took him 60 while he was here, so 2 months, and he finished there, and then came back to help that Iowa truck driver.
Which was really cool.
That was neat.
That was an Iowa truck driver.
All the people that he contacted were from Iowa. Even though he met the one lady somewhere else and the trucker from somewhere else, he didn't meet either one of them in Iowa. But the two people that he met were from Iowa. So when they went back home, they're like,
really kind of
the
crazy.
woman did her 10-day cleanse, and she said that she was like...
I don't remember the woman.
I don't remember the woman at all.
Not
really?
that sick and nearly dead.
Yeah, the woman was, she was like borderline depressed, and her husband came out, and they were doing a little one-on-one interview with him, and he said she was really in a bad place for a while, and I've never seen her happier since she's done this. And I mean, it was a really short kind of segment of the show. But at one point they go to like Texas Roadhouse or some steak place, and she's sitting there with her mean green juice, and everybody else is having their baked potatoes and their cows and
barbecue sauce.
Yeah. And she's just dying. She's just dying because this is like day 2.
Oh, man. That
She's
was
going
not
through
a
that.
good move on her part.
No.
She made it. Still.
I like the fact that truck driver,
No kidding.
he started, I mean, it wasn't just the weight loss. It was when he got him that place at Spirit Lake, and he said, you have a week. Is it a week there?
Yeah.
Once you juice every day, you stay here and have a little mini vacation. And the guy right away started thinking about, I used to be a swimmer. So you know what I'll do? I have nothing else going on. I'll just swim every day. You know, and he started kind of like finding those things that made him happy in the past and realizing that he needed to start filling that kind of void with something else besides eating all this horrible food. And so it was more, I think it probably goes right along with what you were talking about, Laurie, it went back to him finding those ways of satisfying himself and filling those holes inside himself emotionally with what the things that he found pleasure in outside of food. And that's the part I like, because he he hadn't lost any weight at all. It was when he first started, but I thought, wow, he's already started making a huge transformation mentally. You know,
because he was walking around with this huge pitcher.
It was huge.
Huge pitcher of the greens. I'm like, I was watching that thinking, okay, do I have to drink that much at one sitting? How many blenderfuls do I need to drink in one day? Now, honestly, when I was done with it, when I was done doing the whole thing, I thought maybe I didn't drink enough. I was having 3 containers full a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. But maybe I wasn't drinking enough. And I think that's one of the things that people get caught into, this indecisiveness, this gray area of, I don't know how much of this I should eat. Am I eating too much? Am I not eating enough? Am I getting enough calories? You know what? I'll just stick with McDonald's. You know, that's one of the things that I always find myself questioning. If it was the Joe Cross thing, am I drinking enough of this? Because I feel kind of weak going up and down stairs and things like that. All right, I'm going to start eating this way. Am I getting enough of my vitamins? Am I overdoing it with this? I just don't know. Maybe it's too crazy. All right, I'll just go back to eating McDonald's.
I enjoyed I enjoyed the lightheaded, euphoric feeling I had, and it wasn't because I wasn't eating enough. It was that I didn't have any. I mean, my body was literally being cleansed out of all the shit that I think kind of just clogged it up. Mm-hmm. And so, what I thought was euphoria was probably a normal way of feeling. Yeah, it just didn't have. I just didn't have any junk in my system. I mean, that's what I kind of figured out. But again, even with that thought in mind, you know, I don't know if there is an answer. Because, I mean, I know better. I would imagine that the way you think about food is probably the proper way of thinking about food. It is not going to stop me from eating the way I eat now for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And maybe that's why I'm like so shocked, because you talk about a mindset, changing a mindset, right? But I think it's more of, I've heard people eating this way since I was a little kid. My parents went and lived in communes and things like that. Oh, wow. It was more, but it was
he
more
lived in a teepee for a year.
But still,
kidding.
Yes, he did.
It was more than 1 year, buddy. But still, it doesn't matter. I mean, but it's still more of realizing that it's the right way to eat. But I can't get myself to get to that point. And I tell him this all the time, too. And I tell my wife, I guarantee you there's going to be a doctor saying, okay, guess what? You got about 15 years left. You keep this up. And then I go, oh, geez, I better make some changes. Even though the whole time I knew better. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's the same for smokers. Is it the same for, it's crack addicts, you know?
I like to paint the picture really bleakly.
You do?
Really?
Yeah. Well,
you're a cynic?
There's a lot of people that are like, I tried it, I couldn't do it. It's hard. Yeah, it's probably about as hard as it is to quit smoking when your wife is a smoker. You know, if your family, if your kids and your wife and you all eat a certain way, the normal mainstream way of eating, you just trying to change you is
in a household
is a difficult task. Because I'm doing my thing. This is the only reason I made it 9 days, because my wife was doing it with me, and she would help. Yeah. She would prep the produce. Oh, okay. She would start doing stuff before I came home.
I had no idea she did that.
She would go out to the grocery store and make sure we had certain things. I mean, it was as much of a her goal as it was my goal. Yeah. But if she's not doing it with me, I can easily get home from work and go, I know the grocery store. I passed the grocery store on my way home. I passed it. Yeah. I could have just stopped and grabbed what I needed. But, I mean, I'm going to get home. I'm going to watch her finish making a meal, and then I'm going to sit with my family and eat a meal. It's really difficult, I think, and it's really easy to justify not making a change. Mm-hmm. But there's some motivators, like really expensive health care. If there's anything to motivate you to eat healthier and to eat better, even if you don't think that it's really like, you might not even realize how great you could feel.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because you've always eaten shit. Your parents have fed you shit. You always ate shit. You're feeding shit to your kids. You don't realize that you are a shadow of your potential self.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I came to raw food,
and then I lost my train of thought. I was like, I was going somewhere, and then I'm not. I don't know.
But it's being a partner with somebody.
Yeah,
yeah. Your household has to be that way. I mean, again, we try our best because we're more concerned about our kids than ourselves. Which sounds terrible, but we don't have a lot of stuff in our house that's really bad because we know we're going to snack on it. And we don't want our kids to eat it.
That's you. I have tons of stuff that's horrible.
Right. So we don't have a lot of chips. We don't have a lot of candy and sugar. Mm-hmm. Our kids don't drink any pop or juice for that matter. Wow, so there's certain. So our kids are much healthier than we are, to be honest.
Your kids come to my house to get their fix.
They do,
and then they leave.
Can we please sleep over at their house? Why? Because we get to have Lucky Charms, eat marshmallows on our cereal. God.
I found a recipe for Count Rockula.
Oh,
It's chocolate granola, and it's raw.
is it good?
I haven't made it yet. I'm going to.
Oh, got me
was
all
like,
excited. Get some in
oh.
your little thing over there.
Yeah, and the dehydrate. No, I don't have any with me. But
Well-
you know, here's the thing. You know, you guys are talking about making a radical change. You know, you go
Yeah.
from eating cooked food to 9 days of green juice.
Make it sound doable to me.
Well, take it one step at a time. You know what happened to me? Okay, so 2008, run the marathon. I discovered raw food. I didn't become a raw food right from the get-go. I kind of tried, but it was complicated, you know? In my body, I wasn't soaking nuts. And when you soak nuts, like your almonds, you know,
Right.
what it does is it makes them sprout. And they become 20 times more nutritious, you know? But if you don't soak them, what happens is you don't activate the enzyme that helps you actually digest the nuts. So here I am creating these nut dishes, you know, soups and puddings and whatnot. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, this is just way too heavy for this body, you know? So I thought, okay, raw food isn't for me. You know, that was, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But of course I was still eating, vegetables and salads and fruits and that kind of thing. But the nut dishes, I was like, I think it doesn't work for me. But, I just needed to educate myself more about why that was. And so what I'm trying to share is that I didn't come to this, bam.
Overnight.
It's been the last few years, even the juicing. I watched Fat, Sick, and Dead. And one of the people that Richard and I were training to run was a huge guy. He was almost 300 pounds, 6'3", and very overweight. And bless his heart, he was amazing. He was so determined to run that half marathon. I can't remember what happened, but he got some kind of an injury, and he had to drop out of the training, or at least scale it back. And I can't remember what it was, but he didn't end up going with us to run the half, and I was really sad for him, but he did what he needed to do, But he had such heart, and he was just, where was I going with this?
When you got started, and you didn't start right away, and different things at different levels.
Yeah, and so even, I'm not sure why I started talking about him, but I'm sorry, this happens all the time. Do you guys have this experience?
Welcome to our world.
Yeah. You know what? Just now, 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. Let her finish. Let her finish.
I got it.
All right.
So anyway, he and I have emailed, over the years and whatnot, and so it was a few months after we trained together, He shoots me an email, and I tell him about, this video I watched called Fat, Sick, and Dead. And he did too. And he was going to do the juicing. And so I was like, wow. So I looked it up, and I was like, and then I started getting Joe Cross's emails, about the 3-day boot camp or whatever. And I thought, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So here I go to the grocery store, and I get all the juicing stuff, and I come home, and I start doing it. And I felt like hell.
Yeah.
It
The
was
first
the
day,
detox.
first 2 days. Yeah.
I couldn't hang. I got right. I was like, okay, this is, so what I'm saying is I didn't come here bing, bang, boom. It was a progression, and so.
How about your business? I mean, Richard, your husband, very nice guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Got a chance to hang out with him a little bit. How are you guys able to afford to start this business? What did you do before this? Are you still currently working at another job? A lot of people who we've had on the podcast who are like Chuck Kavanaugh, people like that are starting a new business, still have a regular, or us for that matter, have full-time jobs that we're working at and would love to do
Trying to
our
make that
dream
transition. Yeah.
to transition.
So how did you make the transition?
How did you do that?
Well, what happened was I'd started a couple other businesses. One of them was running spirit coaching, which is what I was doing, with the Jeff Galloway method, teaching people how to run. And at one point, the coaching was going to kick in, but it really never took off. And I was doing energy healing as well, reconnective healing. So I had 2 other businesses, and I kind of did them together. They were both kind of being created at the same time. And I was still working full time.
Okay.
No, I take that back. I think I wasn't at the time when I was launching both of those because, one
Were they
time
lucrative?
No,
or not
no.
At the start,
I started doing the healing, and it was starting to take off. And while I was doing the healing work, I was training to be a coach, to help people with this. And I was already training people on using the run walk method because I had the information I needed from Jeff Galloway, so there wasn't a lot of coaching to it. It was just follow this program. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Kind of like a cookie cutter thing. So I wasn't working at that time because I was doing some training and I was also doing a healing business. Well, that kind of started to peter out, and I decided, okay, if I need to go back to work, I want to attract the job that would really get me to go back. In other words, it has to be on my terms. Okay, 40 hours is fine. I want to be able to wear jeans. I don't want to have to worry about parking, and I want at least $12 an hour. Because when I looked up online for a temp job for an executive assistant, they paid $13 and up. And I didn't want that kind of a job.
Okay.
I didn't want high stress, high pressure, I need this now, I need this yesterday kind of a job. I wanted something easy, but I wanted all this criteria to fit. And lo and behold, that job fell into my lap for $13 an hour. And for 3 years, I worked as a temp at Alliant Energy. And I was doing data entry. And I loved the people I worked for. I loved the work itself because most of the time I didn't really have to think about it. And at that time I could listen and learn and, about raw food, about metaphysics, about spirituality, about, whatever.
From what I've been told, they're a pretty good company to work for as well.
They're awesome.
So, yeah.
And you had a masseuse.
Huh?
There was a lady who did massage that would come in, and that's where the connection is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the connection we were talking about before the show. Yeah, Shelley.
What is it? Cedar
Valley Chiropractic. Yeah,
on 32nd and Oakland Road. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So as a temp, I was treated like a full-fledged employee. Really, it was amazing.
Well, if you want to attract good people, you treat them right. That's just that simple.
They did, and I loved it. But I knew it was a job that was just going to keep me in a holding pattern in a way so that I could kind of discover, well, what do I really want to do? I mean, what do I really want to do? And I thought, well, shit, what makes me happy? What brings me joy? And when I really thought about it, I thought, I love making these desserts, and people love them. And so, April of this year, we're at the New Pioneer Co-op, and there's a raw cheesecake being sold from California. And I'm like, okay, it's time.
And where was that? Who was that sold by? There was
Earth Cafe.
Okay.
Earth Cafe.
And do you do a raw cheesecake?
You're looking at one right there.
Is that the pumpkin one? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
We haven't even broken into these other ones
Well,
yet.
you know what? Again, it's paradigm. I think of cheesecake. I think of something white or...
Yeah, exactly.
Is that pumpkin?
It's pumpkin cheesecake.
But I think it's a pumpkin pie.
What a gorgeous little display.
Right, it's pumpkin pie.
I call it a cheesecake because of the texture.
Oh, of course you do. That makes total sense.
And it's kind of looks like a
Sniff
cheesecake.
it. Jeez.
Why can't I smell it?
Because you're weird.
It does have spice.
It smells amazing.
Take a bite.
All right, I'm sorry.
Jeez.
You know what? Do you yell at people that smell their wine?
I do. Just chug it. Just chug it.
Or
At
their
times.
beer.
Yeah.
Not beer. No, not at all. Hey, listen to this run walk scenario. Would you be down for doing a marathon with me?
This is mine.
Nope. Would you be down for doing a marathon with me?
I'll train you guys. Me and Richard. Wow.
Now listen.
Can I call him Ricky? Can I call him Rick?
Rich.
What are you
Rich.
doing
Ooh, I
with your
like
hand?
Rich.
With your
I'm
hand
waiting
over there?
to have a bite.
I'm displaying this beautiful piece of put 'em there to the camera. Delicious, the pumpkin cheesecake.
Can I? Dude, you have to share. Don't be an ass.
By the way,
My arm's
Lori
getting
brought some
tired.
beautiful dishes to display her food on.
Well, I didn't even bring the real stuff. I brought my little plastic samples.
I know, but it
I was
looks
going to
good.
bring the real
It
stuff.
looks super.
But yeah, it looks like a cheesecake.
Oh, Mrs. M.
Oh,
Mrs.
is there-
M. This is so
Is
scrumptious.
that corn hand shucked?
You ever see the movie What About Bob?
Oh, yeah.
It does smell. It does smell really great. What About
See?
Bob with
Yeah, Bill Murray. Yeah.
If
I don't
Lori,
remember much about
There's
it.
a dinner scene in there that we watch it. We watch it probably once a month.
he just does this. He
Oh,
just
it's-
does this. Bill Murray just does this. Oh, Mrs. M. Is this corn hand shucked?
And the whole time he's going,
Oh,
wow, that is really phenomenal. You know what would be really good on this?
Hey, she
a
actually
big
is
dollop
Mrs. M.
of...
Coconut cream.
you were
There you
gonna
go.
Yeah, you were gonna say Cool Whip. She actually is Mrs. M.
Coconut whip.
She actually is Mrs. M.
That's why
Am.
But
that's why I said it.
it's in the movie though too.
I know.
It's just serendipitous.
I'm telling you, that's why I said it, because I knew her last name started with an M.
I'm
It's
just
not on
saying,
accident.
I'm slow on the uptake.
Welcome to the party.
And I'm just now
Welcome
enjoying
to
this
the
moment.
Party. You're welcome.
Listen.
That treat was just for you.
I love that.
Man, that is really good.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Well, you should call this a pumpkin pie, is what you should call
You
it.
could call it a pumpkin orgasm in my mouth. That is delicious.
Well, it does have ginger spice, so.
It's. I can't believe you got on me about smelling it.
Man, that is really good.
Can you guess what else is in it? Besides pumpkin. Raw pumpkin, by the way. You know, when I first made this and I took it to Alliant for sampling, see, that's what I did. See here's how I made my transition. I saw the cheesecake in April, started to develop the idea in May, launched it in July, and from
Thank you.
from May through July, I used everyone at Alliant as guinea pigs.
Nice.
So the floor I worked on the 10th floor with the
Solid,
engineering,
no
the
food poisoning.
engineers. So guys who knew what they're talking about, right?
Right. Don't hate me, okay?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yum.
What are you doing?
That's going to go well with that pumpkin.
Are you trying to?
There's a conflict in my tummy.
All right. What
So
do?
he had to have the beer win.
Yeah,
He
what
was
is
trying
this?
to out
That's the
pumpkin.
pecan.
That's the maple pecan pie.
My dad loved that.
Did
My
he?
dad, he's like, you know what? The best part about it is that I could probably only do one slice.
Yeah.
Which is really all you really need, which
Yeah.
is one of those reprogramming of your brain.
Is he calling that one slice? That's called dessert for two.
No,
it's really
because
two
you gave me
Oh yeah,
those
I
little
gave you
narrow slices, so I
yeah.
let my dad try one,
Oh,
and then
okay.
he ate
So
this.
it was about half of one of those.
It was probably half of one of those, and he again was like, "That is amazing." He's like, "But man, I could really only do one slice," which
That's-
again makes you think that's all you really
I'm getting
need
a lot
to have.
of. I'm getting everything that right
everything
now
I
my
need.
body is like. Okay, I'm craving something. Well, why is my body craving something? It needs something or it wants something. And when I was eating, well, like the other day when I ate 4 bags of chips, my body's like, "Oh, it smells good. It must have something that I need." But it's not. I'm still not getting what I need, so I just kept putting it in my mouth.
Are you understanding the poor bastards like us? When you hear him say 4 bags of chips, do you go, "Sweet Jesus, what's wrong with you?" Or do you go, "Yeah, I kind of understand where you're coming from,"
I
and
totally understand. where
you
you're
get
coming
it? I told you, dude.
I thought the pumpkin one was good.
So I have to say the pumpkin one is my favorite. Hands down. The fudge is great. I like the fudge. Fudge. I like the fudge a lot. The chocolate's my favorite, but this is now
from. Really?
my hands down favorite.
Try that.
Oh.
I had that one.
Oh, you've already had this.
Yeah, I'm not a huge maple guy. That's the only reason.
All right. Well,
I thought it tasted really good, but I'm not. I can eat.
the lemon with
One
the
of those bad
raspberry ribbon.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I do like that one a lot. I do like that one
I like that because it kicks. The flavors are so strong. I can really feel the back of my throat. That kicks really good. I love it. And see, that's the one we've been buying for our
Oh, okay.
podcast. Is I go and I buy
Oh.
the 2 little discs,
Yeah, yeah,
and then we let it thaw out. I keep it at home now because it might be eaten if it stays. I set it out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I set it out the day before. But
Desserts to live for. What? Yeah.
and do you? I mean, you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's obviously going well. You've beta tested it on all these poor bastards at Alliant Energy.
Well, they probably don't think of themselves that way. They think they're pretty lucky.
Sorry, I feel bad now.
I thought you were. You know what?
you're
I
probably
actually thought you were saying that to be
wonderful.
kind of like.
Wonderful people. I was trying to be silly, but it really came across badly.
You said it poorly,
I did. Okay, well, you shut the H up. You say things poorly all the time.
and that's why we don't show Todd's face because we're so embarrassed by what he says. I don't want him to be seen. Hey,
I
but you
feel
know what?
Really,
Okay,
really,
so you
really bad.
So you tested this stuff on all the people there,
Yeah.
and then how did you get to that morning where I met you at the
The million cups.
Accelerator.
The 1 million cups.
the 1 million cups? What building is that? That's
the Geometric building.
Geometric.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get from, all right, I'm making these things that I really like to make. I'm testing them out with the people I work with. They love them. Okay, so how do you get to the point where you're giving a business presentation like Shark Tank, that's what I thought. When I was sitting there as a guest, I'm like, oh, this is kind of badass. I like this.
Was it intimidating?
Cool.
Was it intimidating? Or no, you love it, so you love it?
Well, I was a little bit nervous, but I don't know. It just, I think I knew what I wanted to say. And it was weird because when I first started that presentation, I was going to rely on my notes, on the slides.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see them. And I was like, okay, we're just going to go with it. And thank God, Scott, my business development guru, that's what I call him. He doesn't call himself that. He says, use pictures. He says, use the food porn. I said, yeah,
nice.
Okay. But pictures, that way I don't have to remember either because the pictures give me a cue as to what am I talking about.
Sure.
So that was genius, So my presentation was pretty much all pictures, if you remember.
But how did you get to that point? I mean, so you're making stuff and then...
Yeah. So I tested it. Everyone seemed to like it. And I decided to launch it. And I had learned about the Small Business Development Center at Kirkwood. And so his name is Scott Swenson. And so he kind of helped me develop this product enough that I was ready to launch
Kirkwood
this business.
Community College.
Yeah.
So you went there, called them up.
Well, it's at KTOS, which is the building over by Carlos O'Kelly's in Marion, in that plaza area there.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Armour Plaza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's where he is. And so they help you develop your business. And it doesn't cost you anything.
So you're not part of the accelerator.
Really?
You're not part of the accelerator
No, I'm not.
project. Okay.
No, I'm not. But the 1 million cups is there's a membership that you can belong to with Vault.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the 1 million cups is free. So you don't have to pay to be part of that. But all you need to be is an entrepreneur and be willing. You go there with the intention of sharing what you do and presenting so that you can get feedback from other entrepreneurs or assistants.
Because you got some really great feedback initially. I don't know how it all worked out for you, but for one, I was there and I got to take a taste test.
Yeah.
I got some samples and I got to meet you. And then, but I also heard people were asking you really legitimate questions about shipping and how are you going to ship and dry ice and what kind of containers are you using. And one guy just goes, here's my card. Meet me after your presentation. We got a lot to talk about. I have some connections. I don't know if that worked out for you or if it was a benefit to you, but that type of presentation, that type of Shark Tank atmosphere, it was really neat to see because there's times where Todd and I are bouncing ideas back and forth to each other and going, okay, are we just spinning our wheels? Are we taking this in the direction that it needs to go? Are we missing something that's vital right now? Are we going to look back on this 5 years and go, if only we would have done this, we would have known. This is the logical progression.
Yeah, well, go to the Business Development Center. I mean,
well, see, when we interviewed Steve Shriver at Brewhemia, where I met you, as we were packing up and leaving, he goes, "Oh, I've got to introduce you to this guy," and it was David. I forget his last name, but he's the guy who runs. He's the head of the Accelerator Project, and so Steve Shriver said, "You guys have got it. You should do this next year. You should be part of the Accelerator Project."
Yeah, you could.
And we thought, well, that'd be fun to do. I mean, that'd be awesome, right? But then we're thinking, well, what's involved in that? In the sense of we both still have full-time jobs, and I can't devote 14 hours a day down at the Accelerator building doing what they need me to do. I'd love to be in presentations like that. I love doing stuff like that. I love speaking in front of people. I would really enjoy doing that. But what is it? I mean, you have a product that you really believe in. It's hard for me to put a podcast into this product mindset. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We like as this thing has evolved over time, it became he and I enjoying our own banter to us realizing, well, this is only going to last so long before people go,
I can only stand to stare at you for so many hours.
You do have bedroom eyes. but only for so long.
This is not going to work. But then we thought, well, we want it to be bigger than just you and I anyways. So maybe we can interview local people. So that's where that kind of initiated. And then we thought, well, geez, why would we just want to interview people? Let's give people the podcast.
Let's interview animals. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
We want to give
Let's not just interview people.
Let's start. I'd love to finish my thought, you dickhead. Let's give other people podcasts to do their own thing that they want to do. And so we've started doing that as well. We have 2 other podcasts that are part of the TPSP Productions family, so to speak.
Right.
And so it keeps evolving as we start realizing what we would rather it become. Mm-hmm. And so I keep wondering if the Accelerator Project it sounds like a wonderful opportunity, but are we going to be able to fit the criteria that they have to promote
and the
them
and the time to put in?
Well, they just did a mini one. They just did a mini startup accelerator like over a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But it was pretty much wall to wall. But, I mean, you guys could do something like that with, here's what we got. What can we do with it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. What do we sell? What are we selling? Are we selling ourselves? Are we selling? I mean, what are we doing here besides
how do you promote?
having wonderful
how
conversations?
Do you get sponsors? How do you we had anywhere between 3 and possibly 6 groups of people that want to do different podcasts. We have a couple of comedians that would like us to help them get their podcast going. The Coffee Clatch, the Bandwagon. This one, there's a Count to 10 podcast for parents to help with dealing with their kids, troubled kids. But we're also recently we just got in contact with Metro High School, and we're going to start mentoring the kids there to help them produce their own shows and to bounce ideas off of us on what they could and could not do.
And we're going to do a podcast for the high school because it's their 40th year anniversary.
Right.
So it's all kind of coming. I mean,
so
and that got me that has probably got me more excited than anything else we've done so far, because that sounded really cool to be able to give back to the Cedar Rapids and the community down there. Was really just sitting down with those teachers and seeing how excited they were, because we went in going, okay, we have some ideas of what we can pull off for you. Their thoughts were to the ceiling. They just could not. They just kept coming with more and more ideas of
what
they
about
could.
This? How about that?
Yeah, they were so excited about it, and so it made me super excited too.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like this podcast with us and our journey so far is almost like possibly your journey with going from the mainstream eating to where you are now.
Right.
It's like every time you sample something and you're like, oh, that made me feel better. I was excited about that. It made me feel really good. Let me do something else. That felt really good too. Mm-hmm. I can do this. Maybe what if I do more of this? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I'm really satiating this awesome feeling. Maybe I need to do more of this. How can I do more? You know, instead of like what I was saying, how do you go from mainstream eating to you? Mm-hmm.
Right.
I couldn't do that. How could I go from let's talk into our computer 1 minute, and then the next week we're producing podcasts. You're not going to do it. Right. It's these baby steps and feeling out like, oh, I like this over here. I like this feeling. I'm going to do more of this. I didn't realize I would like going to Metro and talking to the teachers and going, oh, I would really like to let people bounce ideas off me. I like being able to mentor.
Yeah, you never.
Well, and what's funny is I was sitting there and they're talking. This guy said, "We have all this equipment and we don't know what to do with it." And in my head, I was going, "Oh shit! Do they know what they've gotten themselves into?" Because if Matt gets over there and he looks at that table and sees all this stuff, he's going to say like,
"It's Christmas.
Oh, they can have their own production studio if they did."
You're 1 or 2 steps away. All you need to do is get this, and then that would connect those 2 groups and get that, and that would connect everything else. And now you're good.
And driving home, that's what I said to him. I was like, oh, God, are you in trouble? You're going to have so much fun helping these guys out. You know what I mean? It's just, I can just see him flourishing with that kind of stuff.
So I teased him earlier. I was giving him a hard time about this camera that I took into the store. And I was like, hey, by the way, I had to get this. There was a reason why your camera wasn't working, because this was broken. We had to download some more software or whatever. The cost is about $280, $400. So I was teasing him. And so he goes, oh, okay. Metro, did you go into Metro today? Because they sent you an email. And I go, what? I'm not very good with email. He's
social media
he's
at
the
all.
He's the social contact, the guy. I do the technical stuff, and then I just show up and talk. So he goes, dude, I sent you the email. You were supposed to be at Metro today with the kids. I go, what? He goes, gotcha. Now.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Gotcha.
And that reaction right there just tells you how important it is to you. That's good.
Yeah,
So you
no
found, in order for you to do this, you went from, we're gonna step back a little bit. You went from making it in your kitchen, taking it to your coworkers, deciding, yeah, this can be done. I can do this. I'll enjoy this. Going to a place that helped you put together a business plan. How do you nurture this? How do you create a business out of what you like, which is called what again?
Yeah, the Kirkwood Small Business Development Center.
Okay. And then you go to the Million Cups. Mm-hmm. You present.
Well, there's a lot of steps in between there, and wait till you hear it.
Okay.
Sweet.
So I'm still working at Alliant, using my little guinea pigs, and I let my boss know, here's the thing. I think I'm going to be leaving. I want to create these products. And actually, I let him know that when I was starting to bring them in and why I was doing that. And he was excited for me. But anyway, so we developed a plan for my exit strategy. We would need to hire someone. And I promised him I would have someone trained before I left. And that's what happened. The universe said, okay, you want to go live your joy? We'll take care of it for you. And the next day, he had someone to interview, and she was the one. So we got her hired, and I started to train her. And by the time I was leaving, I was getting ready to launch SweetRawJoy a week later at Newbo City Market. And so I went from, working full time, and a couple of weeks later I was doing this. And
how'd you make that connection with Newbo?
While I was there at Alliance, I'd never been to Newbo City Market. And someone mentioned that, and they said, wow, you should sell this at Newbo. I said, really? I said, what's that all about? So I got online, and I was like, oh my God, did you know it's a small business incubator?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
What's that mean?
It's a small business incubator. In other words, what you do is you lease a spot there. If they have room, which they didn't have room for me, but you lease a spot for a year to 2 years. It's a lot cheaper than a storefront. It's like between $300 and $500 or $600 a month. It might be more if you have 2 spots. But anyway, that's considered your commercial production space. So for me, it would have been where I would be able to create my desserts. And they're only open, though, from Thursday to Sunday. So the other 3 days of the week, you produce and you get ready and you stock and you get everything ready for those 4 days. And then you just keep repeating that cycle over and over. So then after that lease is over, you are encouraged to leave. You cannot stay. You're encouraged to leave and take your following and create your business somewhere else, in a storefront or just somewhere else. And so in that incubator are the anchor stores, the ones that stay for that year to 2 years, and then you have a whole open space to the left inside the building that they offer every Saturday and Sunday for farmers market type things, like crafts, art, food, of course. So that's when so that's how I got turned on to it.
And my kids and I were there opening. We were at the front doors when they opened it the first day.
Yeah.
I was so excited because that had been a dilapidated old building for a long time, and it was very cool to see that picture turned into something.
Oh, wow.
Because I took my kids and I went down to the Cedar Rapids Art Museum, and they had all the models and all the plans for the new buildings in Cedar Rapids after the flood spaced out. And so you can see the model on the model. You can look around the model. You can look on the wall. They had digital models as well. And so we saw the library, the fire station, Newbo Market, a bunch of things before it was totally done. They had kind of planned it out. And so my kids and I saw it. I was like, so this is where we can go in the wintertime. We might be able to go down there and get fruits and vegetables from local farmers. I mean, it's so cool. And they, of course, were freaking out about the fire building because it looked so neat. And we planned it out so that we were there the opening day. So we were walking into the building where they have that museum, and they just love going down there. Plus that cupcake place is just, it's baked goods. I know. I'm sorry.
Teresa is lovely. And you know what? She loves SweetRawJoy.
Good.
She was down there a lot.
Well, she's a creative person. I mean, she's
Yeah.
got some good stuff too. So
Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
cupcake thing, it's been there for a while. So
that one
it should
cupcake
be-
place.
It should be on its way out, right? It's been there
Well,
2
it
years.
depends. I mean,
Well, this has only been 2 years. This is the
I don't
second
think it's
year.
been open that long.
We're in the second year. Of
Oh,
it being
it's in the second
open,
year of
period,
Newbo period.
Period being
Okay.
open, and so you have the bakery in the corner, the pizza place in the
pizza place,
corner,
right.
and all the restaurants. And so I don't know about the restaurants. I mean, those are pretty. Man, those are pretty long. I mean, those have already changed hands a few times. Those like the jerky Brazilian kind of place, and the Latin American foods, which has incredible salsa and guacamole, by the way. But I don't know what the criteria is for things to switch out of there. I've talked with Carol.
Don't either.
Is Carol the one who runs kind of Newbo Market? Is that
Carol Weechin? Yeah, I think she's the director.
Yeah, Carol is going to be on the podcast in December
Oh, nice.
because she's I went down and talked to her about coming
Well, she'll
on.
be
just
able to
telling
tell you
about
all the details.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm curious how it works. Yeah, I'm curious how it
Well,
works
that's
too.
only my understanding, but
But
because I asked,
a
because I was
person who's
looking
been
to
there as a
see,
retailer is important too. I mean, even to get a retailer's point of view about how the structure works is pretty neat.
Yeah.
And we thought about it's one of many projects, the idea of getting involved with Kirkwood, so that if they're doing those cooking classes down there,
To go down
maybe we go down there and we shoot them cooking.
Yeah, like do a video.
and then we do a
of the
podcast
cooking classes.
for lack of a better term. Do you do cooking? You do the raw?
She's
the
going
raw
to be
cooking?
doing it
I'm
there,
going to
remember?
be doing it there.
Oh, really?
So maybe
Love
we
you
know
guys to
somebody,
do a
Todd.
Podcast. Yeah.
Well,
if
we
you
would
wanna-
just-
I'll be your guinea pig.
Well, we know what we could do. We would just shoot you cooking.
Maybe we would wire up with a
You mean
wireless
uncooking?
lavalier mic, and she could do
Thank
some
you.
uncooking.
Uncooking.
Or we could set up some cameras ahead of time.
You have to figure it out. At some point, you just slap me, and then I'll figure it out.
No.
And I say, why did Lori slap me?
No,
Oh,
listen.
I keep saying cooking, and it's uncooking.
You
It's
just
just
keep a tally on
like
a piece of paper, and I'll slap the shit out of them later.
See, everybody does it. You just don't even think about it. It's
The
just
uncooked.
outside of your realm.
Yeah, I actually tried to make a point of saying it at the beginning of each podcast that it's uncooked. But then when I talked to you, I had emailed you. I was at work. I emailed you. It was like 5 minutes later. Boom. Call. I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. But while I'm talking to her, I'm like, oh, I love your desserts. How do you cook them? No, they're uncooked. I'm like, God damn it. I've been saying it for weeks. Uncooked.
But see, then people go, "What is it? Cookie dough?" No, not really.
That's
Yeah.
good too, though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can make a raw cookie dough, but
Now, hey, so we'll chat and we'll take you up on that offer because we would love to
Absolutely.
promote you again. We could show you doing your thing
And
Cool.
teaching other people.
and teach other people, and then maybe he and I can do a little commentary in there,
Or maybe-
we can mic
Actually,
we can
Maybe
mic
Matt could learn a little
you
something.
could help me. And see, this is one of the things I want to do in my
Could be our
uncooking
bodyguards.
classes. I'm going to actually have the students help me.
Perfect.
Awesome.
That's what Alissa does at her training in Massachusetts. She brought in her chef from Grezzo, her restaurant. It's not open anymore because her life kind of got really complicated for a while. But anyway, she had a raw food restaurant with people standing around the corner to get in. And her chef, her name is Leah, I think it's Leah Dubois. And so she came in, and so she had us come up and assist her in doing things. And I was like, this is such a great way to learn, because you think, oh, can I do that? Well, you get up and you do it, and you're like, yeah, I can do that. So
Yeah.
it was a cool way to learn. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way you want to do it.
If my schedule works out, I would love to be a part of that.
Do you have a time and date already yet, or not yet?
I do. I think it's January 21st. The first one's a Wednesday night. So I don't know if you're doing a podcast that night, but it's from 6 to 8 Wednesday,
we are
January 21st.
scheduled into December, but
January
not
what?
into January.
January 21st. If that's a
January 21st. What it depends on is with
My work
Baldy
schedule?
over here.
Baldy. Well, what time
I'm
does it
growing my
start?
hair out so I can.
6 to 8 p.m.
Oh, that would work. Part of it.
Am I working?
You're working on the 21st. Yep.
But I could get off work and go straight there.
Yep. You can go.
I could
But
be there by
I'm doing
6:30.
I'm doing one in February. Oop. Sorry about that.
Fucking
One-
punch. Just fucking punch it.
She's an angry foodist.
Man, she's so ready to cook or uncook things that she's punching the microphones. When's
So
your next
I
one?
have a class February 12th. I think that might be a Friday.
I'm going to say, before I look, $5 says he works on that day too.
Okay.
February 12th. Oh, he doesn't. It's a Thursday.
Oh, there you go. So if January doesn't work, that day will work. And we're doing cheese that night, so.
Oh, yes. I want to be part of that one. You know why? Because I love cheese. And on The Amazing Race, one of my favorite shows of all time, and that he and I will participate on someday. They made one of their activities one of their roadblocks they had to do is they had to milk a goat.
Oh my God.
Or goats till they had a certain amount of milk, and then they had to put it in this bladder, which was a carcass of some sort, and shake it for an hour
to create
until they made cheese. It was really cool. And so I thought, you know what? That was a 2 hours amount of time. I don't eat a lot of cheese, but if I could spend 2 hours and make myself enough cheese for a week, I'd be down. So I'm all over this cheese thing. All right. What's your problem?
The idea that you're going to shake a carcass to make cheese for 2 hours.
And you can tell
if it doesn't make anybody smile and giggle and shake their head at you, that's why we don't show his face.
You can see it was a carcass with legs tied off, and they poured it inside.
Depending on the
it was
angle.
In Morocco. It was in Morocco, so it was
depending on differently over there, you know.
Depending on the angle to which somebody is watching you shake a four-legged carcass vigorously for 2 hours, it could be disturbing.
Okay, so what time does that start?
6 to 8 p.m.
So both of them are 6 to 8.
Yeah.
What's the cost of each class?
Kirkwood is going to charge a certain amount. I don't know
35
how
or
much.
40?
I'm not charging anything extra for food. So however much they want to charge.
Now, the first class
You're
is
our
what?
first booking in February, just so you know.
Sweet.
We're locked in.
Your first class is what again?
January 21st, and we're going to be doing nut milk.
Nut milk. I would really like to be a part of that because I
we can go down and watch.
What?
We can go down and watch. We just won't do a podcast. We'll just do the podcast in February, but we'll come down and participate.
Yeah,
I'd just be a little late. I'd get there around 6:30. But I just recently got my kids, well, at least one of them, into drinking soy milk. Mm-hmm. And so if I can continue to do things like that, like my kids, if I do a green, if I do a mean green, or if I do a blend, kale, whatever, my kids are learning those things, putting them in the blender, help me out.
And they eat it.
And they drink it. They love it.
That's great.
You should go almond instead of soy. I think almond actually tastes better personally. I'm not a big soy guy. The aftertaste bothers me quite a bit.
I'm sorry. I meant almond.
You meant almond because almond milk tastes actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Almond butter is the best. I mean, an almond, unpasteurized honey is those two things together to me are like
almond,
golden.
Unpasteurized honey.
Almond butter and raw honey.
Oh, and raw honey. Okay.
Yeah, because Shannon Ramsey of Trees Forever, she gave me half a gallon of her honey.
Really? Where's she located?
Well, her house, where her house is out in Anamosa, Iowa, and then she's the co-founder and CEO of Trees Forever in Marion.
Oh, okay.
And so I've known her since I was 8. He used to be married to her daughter, and so she called
me Sean for I don't know how many years.
Serious.
The woman was the bane of my existence.
No, I'm just kidding, Shannon.
But she's going to be on in December because what's funny is that we started out not knowing anybody to have on our podcast, right? And so you bring friends and you bring family and things like that. And I'm like, I see her all the time, and my kids call her grandma, because I've known her since I was a little kid. And I'm like, how come I haven't had you on the podcast yet? What am I thinking about? And she's like, well, we're just super busy. We're all busy. And so I was like, you've got to be on in December. We'll get you on. Because, Trees Forever is always doing something neat and cool out there.
We actually did do a podcast out at her property because she had an Ojibwe medicine woman come out and do a sweat lodge. So it was my second sweat lodge. It was you had done multiple throughout your life, but that was my second one,
which happened last weekend. That's when.
It was just last weekend.
Just last weekend when she came back, because we were hoping to get back out there again to see her. Nice. We didn't get a chance to, but she's very busy. When Keena comes down from the UP, people flock to Shannon's house.
And for everybody out there who has no idea what UP means, it's the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Sorry, Upper Peninsula.
Gotcha.
My bad.
Laurie, thank you very much for coming on tonight and telling us all about your
my gosh.
business.
Are we finished?
Well,
It's 2.5 hours. I
Are
don't
you
know how
serious?
long you want to keep
See,
going.
and that's why we have
God.
that's why we have long podcasts, because when you meet somebody for the first time and you're sitting down and hanging out, when you're having a nice conversation, you don't want to stop it after 30 minutes.
It's a hang. We're just chilling.
Okay, what did you want to say?
Well, between the Newbo City Market and 1 Million Cups,
yes.
what happened in between there is I actually went to the Des Moines open call for Shark Tank.
Oh, you did?
I kid you not. It was crazy. I was like, I didn't even know what it was, but at Alliance, they're like, well, you should go on Shark Tank. And you should go on Shark. I'm like, what is this Shark Tank? Because I don't really watch commercial television, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this about? And it was a reality show about investing, about investors funding businesses, entrepreneurs. And I was like, whoa. So I watched one episode and I was like, oh my God, you know? That was the night before I went to the open call.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's ballsy.
Well,
holy cow.
Why
I didn't
not
know
try
what
it?
I didn't know, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is you get this 15-page application. And so you kind of have to know, well, what are you going to tell them your business is worth? How do you know that? You know? And so Richard, my husband, kind of figured it out for me, you know. Here's what we can, it's really purely a guess, you know,
Right.
because we just launched our business 10 days before. So, you know, you're just taking a shot in the dark. You know? So I went there and I actually met Nikki Heenick, who is with Dollop Beauty, and she was in Invest in She, which was a local Shark Tank-esque event in September. And there were 19 people that applied with their businesses, all women, and only 6 were accepted. And I was accepted, SweetRawJoy, and Nikki with Dollop. And so we get there and we're like, oh my God, we know each other from Des Moines. And it was hilarious because we went from the real Shark Tank to this Shark Tank. And then, you know, in between those two, I did the 1 Million Cups. So it was a way for me to, you know, practice for the Invest in She. So it was kind of this progression, you know. I went to this one in Des Moines totally, oh my God, you know. I did okay, but definitely they weren't calling me back, you know. And so then I get on 1 Million Cups, and that was like, okay. And then Invest in She, it just took it to another level. So between those events, you know, it's been easy for me to talk about SweetRawJoy in a language that investors can understand. At least I'm hoping that's what I'm doing. So
Yeah, the very first time we sat down with somebody who was going to give us some business advice, he started asking me questions, and I go, I don't have that answer. What's your next question? Yeah, I don't have that answer either. And he gave me the sense of, why am I here again? Why am I here? Oh, because you know nothing. You literally know nothing of what you need. But that's kind of neat about the Kirkwood thing. And if anybody's listening and they have something, a product, an item, you're making something, you love doing it, and you think, I just don't know where to go. Try the Kirkwood thing.
If it's free, holy mackerel, it's a great
Absolutely.
resource. How
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Step out of your comfort zone. Give free samples to your coworkers.
there you go.
Know that you got something quality.
Well, then you have this whole entrepreneurial business startup community that I didn't even know existed until, you know, this August or whenever I
Here in the
talked.
Cedar Rapids area.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing and really bright, amazing people with incredible ideas, you know. And tomorrow night, actually, the Iowa Startup Accelerator, they're having their presentation of their 10 companies that came from all over the world to Cedar Rapids. And they're going to be giving their pitch and having a huge party, you know.
What time is that?
Oh, that's tomorrow night. Is that the
Tomorrow night.
Geocentric?
No, it's at the Doubletree Hotel downtown, the old
Yeah.
Crown Plaza.
Do you invite? Can I show up?
You can register, but it's free. All they want you to do is register so that they can have a count for food.
What
and all
time does that happen at?
It starts at 5 and goes till 9:30. I think the presentations go from 5 to 8, and then the party starts from 8 to 9:30ish. So yeah, if you want to come and check it out, if you're thinking about starting a business, I mean,
Good
they're
Lord.
very inspirational.
It gets you really excited, doesn't it, Todd?
It does, because I think that probably like a lot of people, we feel good about what we do. We
Yeah.
hope to make it available to more people and to give people more access. You just don't even know where to begin, or you spin your, or you feel like you're spinning your wheels and you're not sure. And I don't. This is terrible. I guess I'd rather not go out and make a bunch of silly, stupid mistakes. I'd rather have a really solid idea down of what I'm going to do, whether it's marketing or finding sponsors, things like that, and then go about it that way instead of like throw 10 darts at the dartboard and only have one stick. So I'm like, oh, this sucks, you know? So I'd rather find situations where somebody can really give me some solid ideas about what I can do. And so I get excited with the fact of I'll go
There are
down.
places
I
out
want to
there
go
that
find
can
somebody
do
and
that.
say, I'm going to see what they did. Because I'm like that when I was in school. Everybody, I need somebody to lay it out for me. Show me
Yeah,
step by step.
yeah.
Like we were talking about Dr. Rhonda, is that her name?
Dr. Rhonda Patrick.
Rhonda Patrick. You know, I was saying that she has all this brain stuff, and she takes all these supplements and eats a certain way every single day.
Wow.
Totally for body health, right? I'm assuming she's
Not about it. She doesn't want. It's not to look good.
it's just for her optimum health, for her brain thinking. Her biggest fear is to has Alzheimer's, things like that. And so I would like for her to lay out for me, okay, so what do you take in the morning? And who do you get that from? Where can I find it? Like, lay everything out in the line for me so I can see it all played
what?
out. So it's easier just for me instead of me
Yeah.
fucking fumbling along and Googling shit and trying to
Recreating
find
the wheel.
Yeah. I want. So I mean, I guess some people are like, well, that's kind of cheating. You have to find it on your own. I'm like, well, I'm not
They
going
don't.
to. Not.
Oh God, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I mean,
sounds
a lot of people
crazy
would
to
say,
me.
dude, that sounds pretty lazy. Got to put the work in. But
Right.
it's not lazy. Why would you recreate the wheel?
Why would you do that if you don't have to?
Exactly.
You said 5 to 8.
5 to 8.
And what's the name of it again? What's the event called?
Oh my gosh, the Iowa Startup Accelerator, I believe. If you Google that, it's all over Facebook and Twitter and all that. So, if you go to my Twitter or my Facebook, you'd probably see something. Probably Twitter more than anything.
I'm gonna I'm gonna pull up Twitter.
That's
Ooh.
at
Oh,
SweetRawJoy.
Today is launch day. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You have Twitter right down here. Look at all these little links down there.
I didn't know they were active. Are they active?
Let's go. Let's
I'm not sure if they are.
look at that.
It's like
Well,
Christmas.
Shopify's active.
That's Shopify.
I have
Why-
a Shopify site. So. Oh. Does the Facebook? I'm not sure if I have the Facebook linked or the Twitter linked. I don't think I do, but you can see.
Oh my
Let's
God!
see.
How have
Oh,
I not
that's-
liked this? Oh, I have liked it. Okay, good.
There you go. There's
SweetRawJoy.
Facebook, SweetRawJoy. And then guess what? I'm gonna like this right now. I can't believe it.
Oh, it's so pretty.
That's the feed.
Are you doing your own pictures? Are you taking those pictures
I am
yourself?
taking those pictures myself. And Richard made the header for me with the feed.
With the feed. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything on here for the effing
Yeah.
accelerator. Now, if I'm on the accelerator,
Here, let me.
what date? It's tomorrow, right?
Yep.
So it's the 6th.
Yep. November 6th.
So that's the huge effing banner that says Iowa Startup Accelerator Launch Day,
That's
5 to
it.
9:30.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
You got it.
Sign up. Do I want to
Are you signing up right now?
I am, because I'm going to go. I have a meeting tomorrow, and then after that meeting, I will head down there.
I'm gonna type in SweetRawJoy. I'm gonna look for you under Twitter. So,
Am I not looking at the right thing? It said sold out.
What?
It can't be sold out.
Well, they had like 700 RSVPs, so maybe it is.
what is your Twitter handle?
At SweetRawJoy.
That sounds easy enough. At Sweet Raw.
Do you have 3 E's or 2 E's? Because maybe you have.
I only have 2 E's.
There it is. Laurie Moritz.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, right here. Yeah. Look at that. An egg. Why do you have an egg?
Well, shoot. I'm not. I'm not into Twitter. It's like Facebook on steroids, you know. So I think I need some work, huh?
September 19th was the last time you tweeted.
Woo.
So you know
You
what?
are a lot like me, madame.
You're gonna like this. I'm just
good on Facebook,
I'm just gonna show up and see what happens.
Well, why not?
Well, they're gonna kick me out.
Hey, you know what
It's
you
sold
should...
out, seriously?
It says that. I'm not seeing a lot of links to like find out how to find access to this, but that's okay. I think I'll just go down and say,
Laurie told me all about it.
she said you'd let me in.
You have heard of SweetRawJoy, right?
You want the best tasting damn foods you've ever tried. All right, I'm gonna try to. I on my way home.
Seriously?
It's on my way. I have a meeting
Yeah.
on this side of town. I'll drive downtown. I'll stop in, see if I can mosey my way in on my way home, and we'll see what happens.
Have you ever seen this Freely Banana Girl?
No. Really? The banana
Now you're
girl?
bringing up the banana girl.
Well, yeah, we're gonna let you go, but this is why it's kind of confusing when people want to try to do the right thing. They go on YouTube and they start watching stuff, and she eats more than just bananas, but it's like 40 bananas a day.
Oh,
She's a fruitarian, it sounds like.
A fruitarian. Thank you very much. But then you have other people like David Wolf who goes, if you eat nothing but fruit, or not David Wolf. What is her name? She was Raw Family. She wrote a book called Raw Family.
Don't know.
I'm gonna pull it up. This is ridiculous. Sergei Bowtanko. Sergei?
Oh. Yeah, the last name sounds familiar, yeah. Is it Joni? No. Anyway, so what is she saying? About, eating 40 bananas?
Well, no, she's just
sounds terrible.
I'm not sure I could eat
She would
40
probably.
bananas.
She would win. She'd get to start Cards Against Humanity every single time. I'm just saying. She'd be the number one starter of her crew.
There it is. I mean, it's just some people are, like you said, fruitarians. So you're thinking, okay, so can I honestly live off of nothing but fruit?
You could do it for a while. From what I understand, no one has really successfully done it for any long length of time. And, for obvious reasons. I mean, there's one woman who I was just learned about who was a fruitarian. She had 13 cavities in the 2 years she was a fruitarian.
Yeah.
So, you have to be really careful. I mean, that's a lot of fructose to be eating.
And that's what this Sergei Bowtanko was saying. Is if you can't just do that, because you look at how do people look, how healthy are they? So if you look at a fruitarian and they have no teeth in their mouth, probably not doing all the right things. And his story, I don't know if you've ever read that book, Raw Family, but his family came over from Russia. His mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she got to feeling really guilty because the kids started having these different ailments.
Well, you've talked about this before.
Yeah.
On the podcast. I remember you talking about that.
You've listened to our podcast before?
I did. I listened to a couple.
And
Prepare yourself. You're a smart business person. Do I want to be on that podcast?
Oh, boy.
But she was, I think she's one of the main backers behind the dark green leafy vegetable blends movement, getting the kale and the dark leafy greens in there, because she said, I went all in because I thought, okay, the way I'm feeding, I'm responsible for the health of my children. The health of my children are direct correlation to what I'm feeding them, so I'm responsible. So the boy talks about how he came home from school one day in America, and all of a sudden, you're eating nothing but oranges.
He's like,
and he said,
WTF?
and he said, yeah, and he said that lasted a little while, and their diet has evolved, but so they would feel good for a while, but then other things would start to mess with their bodies, and maybe they were getting like a fingernail fungus or something, or a wart or something, and
kind of
and his
imbalance,
mom
yeah.
would say, well, if you're getting that, we really must not be getting what we need in our body to fight those things off. So let me look at other things. And then she started going to zoos to look at these apes. Look, the closest thing to us. Look at these apes. And what are these apes eating all day long, each and every day? What are they eating? These dark green leafy vegetables.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they would just gnaw on them all day long. And that's what their teeth are made for. Their skeletons, that's what it's positioned like that for that. And she's like, we just couldn't do that. We couldn't do it. We don't have the right biomechanics to do that. She's like, but if you throw it in a blender, now you're getting everything that you need. And if these huge, immensely strong animals are this size and are in this great a shape off of just eating leaves, why couldn't we?
Well, green leafy vegetables have the highest protein, And even if you do eat like animal protein, you cook it, and by the time you ingest it, your body is only absorbing a few of the grams. Instead of 20 grams, you're only getting like 3 or 4 grams. So you're getting more protein from your green smoothie, believe it or not.
Nobody would believe that.
Yeah.
What's the science behind that?
What?
The science of Alissa Cohen.
And so, because cows eat greens, and that's how they get the protein for their muscles.
Well, yeah.
You're
but
kind of
eating
the
the
middleman,
cows?
and you're
Yeah.
eating the cow instead of the greens, and so you're only getting
Right.
part of what they got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that because I like it.
Because you love
I'm
you.
kidding.
You know what?
I believe you.
You
Trust
were a
me.
vegetarian for
10 years.
10 years. Mm-hmm. God, that was annoying. 10 years.
Shut up.
It was being your friend for that 10-year period.
Well, you know what? We've talked about is that there really isn't one diet.
Right.
And when I looked at Alissa Cohen's book, which was required reading for her
Raw
course,
food for everyone?
it was the Living on Live Food. It was actually a book of recipes, beautiful pictures and recipes, and also her story and other people's stories about going raw actually have journals in there of what people eat. And what you would see is like one day they'd eat all oranges, and then they'd eat crackers and this and a couple other things. Your appetite changes so much, and you're not eating as much, but you're eating really what your body's asking for. And that's really an interesting concept for most people because are we getting the vitamins and this, that, and the other? Well, when you're eating raw foods, they're in there. You can still take supplements, which I do when I remember to do it. But really, if you just eat what your body's asking for, you're going to get what you need.
I want it all to come down to pill form.
You can be like
I don't
that
wanna-
futurist, that guy that takes 200 pills a day and
Oh,
yeah.
what's his name? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a genius, but I mean, or like the Matrix, where they're eating like that sludge pudding because it has everything you need. And so there's part of me that wants to cut out the middleman. It wants to
She's
cut
seen
out
The Matrix.
the.
How boring would that be, though?
Oh, you're right, but I want to cut out the retarded way of thinking that I have about that stuff. And if I'm being manipulated partially, I'm taking responsibility for my bad choices.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. But if I'm partially also being manipulated for it, just give me a bowl of stew that has everything I need to have in it every day. I don't care what it's. I care what it's made of. But if it's got all the nutrients and minerals and vitamins that I need, I eat it 3 times a day. And that's all I get. There's part of me that's like, okay, I can still do the podcast. I can do my regular job. I can hang out with you and see you. I can do all the things I need to do. And I no longer have to think about all the bullshit that goes into all those things. There is a part of me that thinks about that going, okay, that sounds great. I don't have to think about food anymore. Because we talked about that. When I was on smoothie diets, I didn't think about food. When I'm not on them, I think about food all the time. All the time I think about food.
Do you eat wheat?
Actually, I'm kind of a gluten sensitive guy, and so I
You
don't eat.
You tried going completely gluten free.
Yeah, and
right?
it was
What
really-
was the
it was
name of
really-
the book that you read.
Wheat Belly was the
Wheat
first.
Belly
Wheat Belly
is the book.
is a great book.
Yeah.
So I once in a while I have bread, but not very often anymore. And if I do, I kind of save it for I'm from the Bay Area, so I love sourdough bread.
Well,
Really,
that's
really
one
good
of the better
sourdough
ones
bread.
to eat because of the fermentation process.
Yeah, I have a starter in the back of my fridge.
Do you really?
Doesn't work very well here though. So
what?
when I go to California, I just eat myself sick of sourdough bread.
I bet you do.
I eat sourdough bowl bread. I go to the store and buy big loaves of sourdough, and I just eat it out of the bag. I don't even put butter or anything on. I just eat it.
You know, that was one of the biggest steps to becoming raw, was getting the wheat out of your diet, because what you'll find is that wheat, well, you read the book, you know, wheat, the way it's created and genetically created, it crosses the blood-brain barrier and reacts in your brain like heroin and morphine. It's extremely addictive, and you put it with sugar, it's like a double whammy, you know what I mean? So all the baked goods. And my husband was looking up a mill to grind our own nuts for making our donut holes, you know? And you know, they were selling they were selling the mills for grinding your own flour, and it was saying that when you buy flour at the store, it is devoid of any nutrient, and that's why they put all the crap in there, because after the second or third day, there's nothing alive in this stuff.
Well, and it's like my wife went to Germany to see her brother, and my brother-in-law talked about it quite a bit, saying that they have bakeries in these small German towns. You eat the bread that day.
Because
if you don't eat the bread that day,
flour.
It goes to shit. The next morning, it's done. It's stale and nasty. You throw it away. So you're only buying things that day. And then in that same book, you talk about how they've genetically altered wheat so badly that, like, they made a big, huge, fat head of wheat at the top of the stem, right? They genetically altered that way.
It snaps off.
So what they do, they build a big old stock and made it longer and heavier so that it could handle the thresher going through it all.
They designed it to match the machinery, which is crazy.
Exactly.
You're like, really?
How could that ever go wrong?
Just because it cost $25 million, you're gonna
Y'all
create
sound like
the
a bunch of
plant.
hippies.
Well, you can actually get in that same
I'm a hippie and I'm proud.
in that same book you can actually find places that have the original wheat from the East Coast, that people have saved those seeds, grow that wheat. You can get that flour. I mean, it's like $15,
Is that
the
$15 a pound. Yes,
The einkorn wheat?
Here's
you can get all of it, but
the sad thing is, we at one point in time, that all natural stuff was damn near free.
it was normal.
You know, and now it is the most expensive stuff to get at the store.
That's because it's scarce. I mean, you know, yeah.
But the scarcity is somewhat going away, especially in our area,
Well,
because
it's
we got
changing.
things like New Pioneer Co-op.
Yeah,
There was one
yeah.
in New Coralville. Now they're building one downtown or in Cedar Rapids,
Center Point Road.
Center Point Road. They're also the Fresh Market that recently opened. Went there the other day. Love it.
Yeah.
So
The only bad part about Fresh Market is it's very
It's like a gourmet.
it's a generic gourmet store.
Yeah.
And so if you Google them and read about more of them online,
Are you downing on my latest
they're
crush?
they're a little kind of. I will spend my money at New Pioneer Co-op before I'll spend my money at that store.
Did you notice anything local there?
No, nothing
See,
local. And then all
I've
the
been trying
hand
to approach them, but I'm not thinking
all
I'm
the
gonna do
hand
it.
drawn like chalk signs that are Starbucks ish kind of thing are all printed, and it's just it's a
really downing on me.
It is. It's kind of compared to a homegrown place like the New Pioneer Co-op. You know, when that bakery opens up at that place, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm buying my bread from those people. Period. So I mean, I think that they're not bad,
and they're right down the street from you.
and they're.
How
but you know what?
convenient.
But I also like going to Hy-Vee because I know that they bring in local farmers with their produce. I mean, there's certain choices you have to make, and so we usually shop in the health food section of Hy-Vee, and so now I'll be going to New Pioneer Co-op to spend my money. It's just that
You know
simple.
what else
You have to
is
make
great
choices.
about the Oakland Road Hy-Vee?
They have SweetRawJoy
They have
there.
SweetRawJoy
That's where I
there.
buy. That's where I buy it.
I went there today, got some a little treat for my chiropractor.
That's right. They're right kitty corner. I forgot about
I
that.
brought it into them.
yeah.
Said, "Hey, brought you guys a treat. Thought you guys would enjoy this."
It was kind of cool because when I read that they were there, you know, and I was like, oh, it was fun to meet you. And then I was like, oh, that's where it's at. It's right there in the. It makes me hopeful. It makes me hopeful. I'm like going, a local company, local person had a dream, did their thing.
right
there
here.
it is. It's right there in a normal store. It's in the Hy-Vee,
yeah.
you know, kind of thing. So I was like going. It makes me feel hopeful about what we would like to do with our lives, kind of thing. You know, it's awesome.
Has
I'm
anybody
very
ever
proud
told
of
you that you like to talk? Listen,
Well,
we
you
got
know what? You're
We
in
have to
your
let her
element.
go.
You're in your element, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
This is it for you guys. This is awesome.
See, that makes me feel good when somebody like
is
that.
the biggest part of it is really figuring out what makes you happy. You know, what do you enjoy doing? And my God, you know, you're that close.
We feel like we're on the precipice, but we've been on the precipice.
Seriously.
We've been running that rim for quite a while, it seems like. But at the same time, we don't know what to expect. What are we really wanting?
It's
What
an
are we
adventure.
hoping for? You
know what you want. You know what you want. You want to know where the end is. I'm enjoying the adventure,
ride, yeah.
the
I
ride.
enjoy the ride as well, but I do want to know that at some point we have an end point. Sure, but I enjoy the ride as well. I don't like the Ferris wheel. I don't like the merry-go-round. I like the roller coaster, but I do want to know that
I don't like the silly silo. That
all the
fucker
work
makes
that
me
goes
throw
into
up.
all the work that goes into it. I do want to know that we're going to hit that point.
Oh, we will.
You know,
And it's not necessarily the end point. It's the
No.
next. It's the next point.
there you go. Yeah,
Because
it's
it's
the end of the next
continuing.
beginning.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
You know what? We need to get back together again because I wanted to ask you all about sacred geometry.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
we
I have to
totally-
bring Richard for that. 'Cause
Okay.
He's the guru on that.
I would love to talk to him
Rich.
about all that stuff because I think that stuff is
Sweet.
fascinating.
Well, and I'm a
Absolutely
huge architect. I
fascinating.
love architecture, and so I would love to talk about
you'd love to.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be awesome.
Yeah. So, if you haven't learned anything from this podcast,
Besides, I like to talk, asshole.
and we will never show Todd's face for many different reasons. If you haven't learned anything else, check out SweetRawJoy. Go to SweetRawJoy.com or go, if you live in the Cedar Rapids area, go to the different Hy-Vees that carry SweetRawJoy. Oakland
which is
Road.
the Oakland Road, Wilson Avenue. And also I'm taking orders for holiday seasonal desserts. So, you know, if you need something for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Oh, I am
Christmas party.
absolutely
And
getting
nothing
one of
says
those for
seasonal
Thanksgiving.
like the pumpkin cheesecake.
Oh my gosh, I am all over that. And my first thought was like, I cannot wait to serve that to my family and tell them
Sweet.
nothing.
They would not know.
They would know.
Won't know.
Oh,
they won't know.
They won't know a thing.
I can't wait. I can't wait to have it out there for somebody, and they go to smell it, and I go to just fucking yell at them.
You're a big baby. You're a big bald baby.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm yelling at you. I thought that was the natural response. I thought that's what people were supposed to do. You're not supposed to just scream at somebody for smelling food. Anyway, check out SweetRawJoy.com. Support Laurie Moritz. And thank you for being on today.
Oh, I had a great time.
We really appreciate you taking the time to do it.
Yeah.
It's been nice.
Also,
fun.
thank you to Cards Against Humanity. Go to cardsagainsthumanity.com. Order the bigger, blacker box if you're that adventurous. If you're that naughty. If you're naughty,
if it's bigger and blacker,
if
it's
you're
gotta be
naughty
better.
enough to order the bigger, blacker box, I'd like to meet you. So go to cardsagainsthumanity.com and have a great time the next time you get together with your
And
friends.
thank you for my lovely eco lips, my rose quartz and the hemp. Wow. This is gonna
Yeah.
be cool.
The hemp
And if
one's my
you-
favorite. It's
and
so
if
good. The
you
hemp one's
haven't-
fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to our podcast to get your own Eco Lips, go to ecolips.com and order your own Eco Lips.
Someday.
Maybe someday. Todd, my friend.
Yes. Oh, now I'm your friend. Now I'm your friend.
Well, because I need you to do something.
Exactly.
How would people, you know what, if somebody came across us on YouTube, but they wanted to follow us some other way, what would be that other magical way somebody would follow us?
It's so subtle.
It's all you, pal.
Go to tpsproductions.com, and on there you can see all of our other podcasts. We have the Primal Scream podcast, obviously. There is the Count to 10 podcast with Simon R. Sanborn. He is going to help you out with behavior in children. We have the Bandwagon podcast, which is gaining popularity daily. Rock and Rob do
Bragging rights 24/7.
Wonderful job with their sports podcast. I remember them pitching us the idea and looking at each other and going, not sure how this is going to work. But they bring it every single week and do a really fantastic, unique job. The Coffee Clash should be coming up pretty soon. We'll have some promos for them because they have a play coming up, Clue, that you will hear more about in coming weeks. But also like us on Twitter and follow us on Facebook. And you can download us on iTunes and Stitcher. And Matt's done a wonderful job, as I've said over and over and over again, with our website.
Thanks, pal.
It's smooth. It's easy to look at. And you can get everything you need from us on that website.
Don't forget Todd's blog. You want to know what Todd's ranting about today?
Mm-hmm. It's been a bit.
Or last week?
I've been a tad busy, and so I haven't blogged this
Haven't
week.
been ranting lately?
No, I've been doing a pretty good job.
Let's see. What was your last rant about? I think maybe it was about, you know what? I haven't read that one. The last one I read was the Ebola one.
That's what I saw too. I was like,
Yeah.
boy.
He's opinionated.
Yeah.
Well,
He's right, though. It's
I'm a
nuts.
little passionate about certain. I don't like stupidity. Bothers me sometimes.
Oh,
What's the most recent one on? I can't remember.
Inspired?
inspired.
Oh, Inspired.
Yeah.
I can't even remember that.
He was so
So obviously,
he was that inspired. He was so
obviously, it was
moved.
fucking awesome.
But anyway, thank you very much for helping us tonight put this wonderful podcast together. And for the desserts, I like it that it's so small and it's so filling. It's so good. I'm gonna put it in my freezer. I'm gonna save it for another day. Like
That's
tomorrow.
another mindset that I had to change. Is that I wanted a piece of that fudge, and I'm like, oh, awesome! She brought a whole entire thing full of it. I can eat all of that.
Yeah.
And then I have a piece, and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm good.
Loved it. Good. Satiated. I just like saying the word satiated.
You do. Your wife's upstairs.
Dig it.
There's more
I dig
satiating going to happen.
Oh, anyway. Laurie doesn't want to hear about that stuff. Anyway,
It is
thank you
gross.
everybody for being with us tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Todd.
And I'm Lori.
We'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night. This episode of the Primal Scream podcast is brought to you by It Works independent distributor Kathy Sculla. Have you tried that crazy wrap thing? It tightens, tones, and firms any area from the neck down. It Works also provides a wide variety of premium supplements, along with a full skincare line. I personally use their multivitamins and greens, and if you're interested in learning more about It Works products or the business opportunity, call or text Kathy at 319-360-2009 or go to her website, kathysculla.myitworks.com. That's CATHYSKALA.myitworks.com.